Okay, we're back on the live streams. 2 weeks in a row. I'm happy with myself. I'm feeling myself because I've streamed 2 weeks in a row. Oh my god. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Today should be a pretty chill live stream because it's happening a lot later than I normally would do these. So it's kind of like late night chill vibes. At least if you're in the UK. If you're in the UK, it's late night chill vibes. If you're in the US, it's probably like afternoonish or like early evening. How you guys doing? Hey, everyone. Today should be really fun. We're doing something different to what we normally do because normally I just talk about runway shows on the lives, but something I'm starting to add now is news segments. So today, of course, I'm going to talk about the Alaïa show, as you can see from the title of the live stream, but then I'm also going to touch on different news stories and hopefully we can keep this going in the coming weeks. But I have issues with I have an issue being consistent, so we'll see how that works. But yeah, is Love Island still on? So I don't actually watch Love Island, so I'm the worst person to ask, to be honest. I don't even know like what's going on. I don't really watch it, but I think it's still going on because people are talking about it. So yeah, I think it's still ongoing. We love a bit of Love Island. More than any show from Paris, I want to try on and touch the Alaïa collection. Same here, because of obviously the fabrics they use, like the merino wool. It's so interesting how many ways they manipulated that fabric. But obviously, we'll talk about that when we get into talking about Alaïa. So interesting. When will Alessandro Michele land a new job? I don't know. I'm not the person who makes the rules. I'm not the person that makes these things up, so I wouldn't be able to tell you, to be honest. I have no idea. Come on, spectacles. They're not medicated glasses or anything. I'm wearing them because my doctor recommended that I wear like blue light glasses. So I've started wearing these a lot because I work from home and I'm always in front of the screen. And like even now that I'm live streaming, there's a massive box light right in my face. Like, let me see if I can show you. Like that's how close it is. So there's a box light just right in my face. So I'm just like protecting my eyes from future, damage. Rachel says, my husband likes your glasses. Shout out to your husband. Okay, we're gonna wait one more minute and then we're gonna get straight into the Alaïa show, which should be interesting. Not very urban of you, but we vibe. Leo, this is actually a really good point. Because yeah, a lot of designers do sign non-competes. That means that after they leave a job, they can't work for a competing conglomerate for at least, I think it's normally like 2 or 3 years. So they kind of just have to do nothing or get hired by the same conglomerate, which is very unlikely to happen the way the landscape of fashion is right now. So that's a really good point. Not very urban of you. That's still killing me. That's hilarious. Not very urban of you. Okay, on that note, I think we should jump straight into the Alaia show and get the stream on the roll. So let's talk about the Alaia Fall Winter 24 collection. As you guys know, the current creative director at Alaia is Pieter Mulier. He has been the creative director for a while now. As you guys know, timeline-wise, unfortunately, Azzedine Alaia himself passed away in 2017. And essentially, the Alaia team were designing collections until it was announced that Pieter Mulier would be his successor. Now, it's very interesting because Pieter Mulier was someone that was Ras Simons' right-hand man for a really long time. I really liked what they did when they were at Calvin Klein. I've made a whole video on my channel about Ras Simons' time at Calvin Klein. And even his partner, Matteo Blasi, is also someone that has worked with Ras Simons in many different ways. So Matteo Blasi not only worked for Ras Simons' eponymous label, then he left and worked at brands like Margiela and stuff. And then he went back to work with Ras Simons and Pieter Mulier at Calvin Klein, CK205. So yeah, interesting backstory. Now, to go into sort of this collection, it's kind of interesting. They have a funny name for it. It's called Summer Fall. I've never seen any brand apart from Alaia sort of name their collections like that. I think it's because their collections are quite infrequent. So they're essentially just saying it's not summer, it's not fall, it can be summer or fall. So to essentially read the show notes and what they're saying this show is about, it says, the Summer Fall 2024 collection is about simplicity and purity. It's about intimacy, about reducing to an essence, about finding a freedom and invention in that. It is a decision, a choice, not to minimize, but to focus, to expand possibilities. The entire collection is created using a single merino wool yarn, reinvented over and over again with the Maison's textile and knitwear suppliers who have worked with Alaia for 4 decades. It is based on the curve, on the circle, the curves of women and circles of friends, of chosen family, an idea essential to the essence of Alaia. Then this is a quote from Pieter Mulier himself. It says, for this show, I wanted to bring us all together to view everything up close, close together, close to the clothes. The space integrates the collection with design objects because that fusion is at the very heart of the house's identity. The lights are Pelotta, created by Mark Newson. The sofas are named Molio by Felipe Maluin. I always wanted Alaia to be about more than the clothes because it is about more than the clothes. It's about life, about being together. Now that's kind of interesting because they talked about the furniture. And if you guys can see from the setting of how the sofas are made and the way that the people that were viewing the show were sitting, they're quite close together. So that falls into the theme of them saying, you know, Peter saying he wants to bring everyone together through the show. And just in general, the show is looking at togetherness. The most interesting part that everyone is talking about with the show is, of course, the fact that every single look in this collection was made using a single merino wool yarn. That is so interesting. And the things look so entirely different. I really want to know what techniques were used, you know, to make some of these pieces because they just look so crazy. So now we're going to watch the runway show and really see some of these pieces that were all merino wool made. So just give me 1 second to look at that. Someone said, don't let Pharrell see that. Oh my gosh. That's funny. Also, I think this idea of, you know, Pieter Mulier focusing on one fabric and looking at merino wool is very interesting because that's a very Alaia thing to do. In some of Alaia's early collections, he focused on using leather. And it was this very interesting thing because he was manipulating leather in so many different ways and creating silhouettes that people hadn't really seen used with leather, creating like these interesting leather dresses. And if you guys want to learn more about Alaia's work, something that I can recommend is quite recently when I went to Paris, I went to the Azzedine Alaia Foundation, and there's this amazing Rizzoli book on Alaia's work, and it covers basically the whole history of Alaia from when he was a kid to everything he did in Paris and so on, like even his encounter with Schiaparelli and all the other things. So very, very interesting book, and it's something that I'd recommend for everyone to read. The cast for the models in Alaïa is missing more diversity. So I didn't actually look deeply into the models of this show. So as we're watching this, I guess we'll see that. But in terms of like what I've seen in the past, it seems like the diversity is good because there's diversity from not just race, not just gender, also like different kinds of people. There's like really famous transgender models from, what's that show, Pose, that I really like. One of the stars from Pose was like in a lot of Alaïa campaigns and in a lot of, I think, Mugler campaigns as well. So yes, it's very interesting. But maybe in this show specifically, the diversity was lacking. I also like that Pieter Mulier was looking at different parts of Alaïa's archive because there are some very specific things that I know he likes about Alaïa. When you listen to his interviews, he's always talking about, you know, loving Alaïa's knitwear, which of course is the major focus in this collection, and something that he wanted to focus on this collection. But he also talks about the white poplin shirt, and he's always looking for ways to, you know, change it every season and manipulate it to make it fresh and make it modern, and finding different ways to modernize it. So it's very interesting that in this collection entirely, I don't even think we saw that. I mean, it'll be very difficult to, as much manipulation that went into this show, it'll be very difficult to have your quintessential white poplin shirt with merino wool. So that's really interesting to see him visiting different aspects of Azzedine Alaia's ideas. And he even said that, I think, in an interview with Vogue, he said that a lot of his past work with Alaïa has been a bit in your face. So to quote him directly, he says, "It's moving on. I mean, we did va-va-voom for 2.5 years, and I still love it, but it's not the moment where the world is now. It's, how can you say it properly? It's less sexualized, but still sensual." So it's almost him looking at this idea of Alaïa from a less sort of, we are trying to introduce this brand to a TikTok generation lens. Also, Alaïa loved women and made clothes for them to have real lives. And these are great of the IG moment, but not true to the house. Yeah, I guess that is true in the sense of, let's say a lot of pieces in this collection aren't everyday clothes, but also not everything Azzedine Alaia made was an everyday piece. Of course, everything he said, what's that famous quote from Azzedine Alaia? I can't remember it, but it's along the lines of, you know, I make clothes to make women feel great about themselves, or something along those lines, right? So that was his MO. It was about making women be like, feel empowered in his clothes. Alaïa is owned by Richemont, as far as I can remember. Yeah, exactly. Leo said Richemont owns Alaïa. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kering and LVMH don't own every brand, luckily. Because I even remember when Pieter Mulier was giving interviews when he first became the creative director of Alaïa. I remember one of his interviews, he said when he was auditioning for the job, he told the executives from Alaïa that he had no intentions to make, like, you know, puffer jackets and sweatshirts and all that sort of stuff. And his vision of Alaïa will have a very clear commitment to the craft, which is very interesting. I want to see how long that sticks, because a lot of times designers go to brands with the best of intentions, and then when the going gets tough, all of that goes out the window, doesn't it? So we'll see how long that lasts. One thing I always look for is the shoes. The crocodile tail is there. Yeah, and Alaïa was also known for, using very exotic leathers like crocodile leather. Obviously, that's a bit controversial in the current fashion landscape to use those kind of exotic fabrics. But yeah, that's something he's definitely known for. Another theme that quite interested me in the show is this idea of him saying that, you know, some of the looks, the women were covered up, but it's still sort of this elegant, sensual thing going on. And it almost reminded me of Simone Rocha, because every time I talk about Simone Rocha, I talk about the fact that she has this idea of playing with what you see and what you don't see on a woman's body. And so that's why Simone Rocha will have a look where it's like a very long line dress all the way to the ankles, but then she plays with the opacity of the actual fabrics themselves. So she'll use fabrics like tulle on some parts so that you can see maybe the arms, because the arms are made of tulle, and then the chest part of the garment will be a bit more blocky, so you can't see through it. It's very interesting, like using fabric to manipulate what people can see on the body. I think one must always temper a creative imagination with commerce and pragmatism. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm definitely always the one that always brings all the conversations in fashion back when we start going too far about fashion being an art. And I'm like, let's not forget, these are fashion brands that have, you know, crazy financial targets. And even if, like I was saying earlier, designers go to these brands with the best of intentions, you know, you can't really fight it. The fact that you're ultimately working for a financial corporation that sells clothes. It's also very different to, you know, what we associate with Alaïa, because I think what people associate with Alaïa is, yes, this sort of sculptural, architectural way of designing. Um, but that is not the only way that Alaïa designed. But I guess that's kind of what we associate with Alaïa's work. And here we're getting a bit less architectural, sculptural vibes, especially in some of the skirts. And it's a bit of a balance of the architecture, yes, but also sort of free-flowing garments. Is it just me, or do these seem kind of like the Phoebe Philo drop with less excitement? No, I mean, I prefer this to Phoebe Philo because I feel like these garments are a bit more interesting than what Phoebe Philo makes. Not to say that like Phoebe Philo stuff isn't like great or whatever. I just prefer the shapes and silhouettes of, you know, modern Alaïa to what Phoebe Philo does. I just find it more interesting. Like even here, if you look at like all these different pleats that they've made with the merino wool, it's just more interesting than what I saw from Phoebe Philo's drop. See what Leo says. Too many designers today think that high fashion equals cumbersome and sculptural showpieces. Yeah, I think because we associate high fashion with really complicated fashion design techniques. And I guess for a lot of people, a good representation of those complicated techniques is to see a garment that's, you know, has all these crazy things going on. But actually, the height of fashion is just really people that are super, super skilled, that things fit exceptionally on the body. That's what is a lot harder to do, because as a designer or as a tailor, you have to keep working and keep working and keep working till you just master different body types and different body shapes, especially if you're making ready to wear. It's even more difficult because you're trying to find a shape with your garments that kind of works for everyone, which obviously is impossible, but you're trying to get as close to that as possible, which is really hard. I think, yeah, this idea that high fashion, whatever that means, I get confused with what high fashion means these days, but you know, this assumption that high fashion has to be something that is super cumbersome and super complicated is, yeah, it doesn't have to be that. He said it's a white man's unseasoned chicken dish. Alaïa made sexy clothes but effortless, and technically he is a master like Chris Balenciaga. Yeah, I mean, Alaïa is definitely someone that is considered, you know, one of the greatest couturiers, especially in the 20th century. Like alongside the Balenciagas. It's also kind of strange that they were kind of like reducing what Alaïa was doing early in his career. Like, if you guys know about the history, when they were sort of referring to him as like a dressmaker or, you know, a seamstress, and he almost had to fight his way into being respected as a couturier. Very, very interesting. Even the fact, what's that story about Alaïa? Didn't he wanted to move to Paris because he wanted to work for Dior? And then I think he was at Dior for only a few days because he didn't have the right papers, or he didn't have the right to work in Paris, which like obviously like made him so distraught. And he used that as motivation to just become like the best designer ever, which obviously worked. And then he eventually was given like the right to stay and like the right to work because he was seen as like a big asset to French fashion. It's really beautiful that in France they value couture and fashion so highly that if you're a really skilled designer, you literally get like a right to work. That's insane. I don't know how many countries that would happen. Like in how many countries that would happen. See what Cam says. Similarly, many young designers think that making a few tailored coats and jackets in muted colors makes their design language seem more mature. I also think too many people are influenced by designers like McQueen and Galliano, who are / were geniuses, but that brand of dressmaking can't be perfected by everyone. Only a tiny minority can. Yeah, I totally agree, especially if we think of the landscape of fashion right now. Like, you just cannot compare yourself to Galliano and McQueen. It's just not going to happen. McQueen is a Savile Row, like, trained designer. Like, he's someone that worked at Savile Row, mastered his skills, went to Italy, continued honing his skills, came back to London. Like, you just, how many designers these days are that skilled? Not many. John Galliano is the same person that basically drowned himself in, you know, just art and art history and all this sort of stuff. I think I was talking about this in when I was talking about Judith Watt in the last live stream. I think that school of thought is very hard to come by. It's so hard to come by. Like every time, because I talk to so many designers, not even just, you know, people from my audience that might be more into fashion. I might just go to like a random place in London and I meet some people and then they find out I'm a fashion journalist and then maybe someone has a brand and they're like, oh, what do you think of my brand? Or they're trying to talk to me about fashion. And you just find that most people that have brands or design clothes, they're not coming from that school of thought. Their goal is not to become the best designer they can possibly be. They're maybe into fashion because it's cool. Maybe, you know, then they can see that it's very profitable, so they want to make a lot of money. They're not coming from it from the perspective of like someone like an Azzedine Alaia who's like, I want to be the cream of the crop dressmaker. I want to be better than everyone else. They're not coming at it. I feel like a lot of kids or people that have brands these days are not coming from it from that perspective. So even when you look at McQueen's clothes on face value, you're missing all the context because McQueen is someone that used to go to the V&A all the time and he's very inspired by, you know, a lot of history and historical figures, and that's where he gets his references from. And he's also referencing silhouettes from like the 18th century, the 17th century, and bringing that back, modernizing it, and also having this Savile Row skill. All of that is just lost in translation when people just look at, you know, Galliano's clothes or McQueen's clothes and then try to like be inspired by it. And that's why normally things that are derivative of, you know, McQueen's work or Galliano's work, it always falls flat. It just always falls flat. What did Leah? I think the only designers today who can compete with them are Yoji, Ray, and possibly Olivier Thysken. I thought Olivier was actually going to go to Arte Milamista, by the way, when what's his name went there? Ludovic de Saint-Sanan. I thought Olivier was actually going to go there. But no, I think there's many other designers that can compete. I do rate Rick Owens very, very highly. Um, I'm trying to think of what designers. I think J.W. Anderson is. I think maybe because we're living in the moment and he's still low key kind of contemporary. I think we might underestimate J.W. Anderson. I think J.W. Anderson is an extremely good designer, like really, really skilled. I think J.W. Anderson is an example of one of those designers that comes from that school of thought that I'm talking about. That a lot of designers are, especially these days, are lacking. I've seen people compare Dilara Findikoglu and McQueen. Thoughts? Uh, I think they probably compare them because of like a lot of McQueen's work had themes of like pain and anger, and Dilara's work has a lot of those kind of themes, even though they're coming from different places. And I think on face value, it definitely does look like Dilara is inspired by McQueen a lot in like the way she designs clothes. So I can see the comparisons, but yeah, I can see it. There's no excuse to do half-assed work with all the resources people have to learn how to design and make clothes. Why we keep making it okay to expect less from creative directors. I know, right? And this is why I get so much hate on YouTube, because when I say that, you know, some of these really big brands have so much at their disposal and they still can't create cohesive collections, it's actually quite shocking. As someone that literally did a whole degree in fashion journalism, and I had to learn about fashion history from the 17th century till now, and I've seen so many clothes over the years, and it's like, why are couturiers that had way less resources than you making way more interesting clothes? Like, that should not be a thing. Things are supposed to evolve, like everything else evolves. Technology evolves, you know, sport evolves. People get better in every sport as the years go on, because, like, you know, biochemistry and just everything around it evolves. So it's always shocks me, like even down to fashion being, you know, bad quality and the quality going down gradually. It really shocks me because it's like, why aren't things evolving? Like, things should be getting better, not worse. And something I will say about this Alaïa collection is the reason why a lot of these designers that I do like are making really interesting collections is, apart from the fact they're just good designers, is also they have a lot of time to actually work on these things. So I think Pieter Mulier was saying that he worked on the merino wool pieces for a year, which I was so happy about, because I always talk about how fashion is too fast. We need to slow down. Everything just moves a bit too quickly for my liking. So I love that he was able to take the time and really manipulate merino wool in many different ways because he actually had the time to. You're the only one who speaks facts based by an education and knowledge. You don't haplessly fawn over mediocre designers. Whoa. There's some Bliss Foster hate, damn. I think so. Okay, to talk about Bliss Foster quickly, I think we just have a different approach to fashion. I don't think mine or his is necessarily better. I think what Bliss does is, and I think I watched one of his recent videos where he talked about it, where he says that he doesn't want to take time out to focus on designers he doesn't like, because he doesn't see the point in taking time out just to say he hates a collection. So he spends all his time, you know, focusing on designers that he likes and really breaking down their work. Fair enough. Whereas my approach is a bit different. I do both. So I talk about designers I like, and then I talk about designers I dislike. So I guess it's just a different way of covering fashion. I wouldn't say that necessarily makes me better than Bliss Foster. Alaïa is beautiful, but the spirit of Azzedine is a bit lost. A lot of experimentation, and the woman's body is lost. Yeah, I need to I want to see if they have a video on their Instagram page of how they made some of those pieces out of the wall. Let me see if I can find some of the pieces, because this is one of the pieces that everyone was talking about, because this piece is actually 3D printed out of merino wool, as far as I can understand. And that's how it's able to hold this structure and hold this shape. But I want to know if it's only wool, because if it's only wool, for it to hold this structure, I really want to know and feel it and see how exactly they made that. Because wool is never really stiff like that. Alaïa was dubbed the king of cling, and so far I'm not seeing the cling. Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I like looking at designers I don't like because it's interesting. Ellie Saab is as valid as Ray Kawakubo. So the thing is, like, so once again, I don't like or dislike any designer. I don't like these. I'm not friends with any of these designers, and I don't have any reason to hate any designer either. So when I'm covering their shows, it's really objective, and I don't constantly hate on designers for the sake of hating on them. So, for example, someone like Demna, I'm not the biggest fan of his recent work, but I don't dislike Demna. I like a lot of his earlier work. I just think now, like I said in that video that I posted, I think he's, kind of run out of ideas, or his ideas haven't developed in any way. So he's just basically saying the same thing over and over again through his clothes, and through like the narrative that he's pushing in Balenciaga. But that doesn't mean I necessarily dislike Demna. And the second that I think he does something different, I'll be the first person to say it. So it's not like I like or dislike anyone. Even, Maria Grazia Chiuri, who everyone hates on, I have reasons why I don't like her work, but it's not like I hate her. And some of her recent collections, I have liked them. It's just, I can talk about that in a different video, but there's just many, many, many reasons why I don't like her work. But the second that all those reasons change, or she doesn't do what I dislike about her work, I'll be the first person to say, oh, this is really interesting. So it's not necessarily from a perspective of, I just don't like that designer's work. I don't think there's any designer that inherently I just don't like, because designers do different things. So it just depends. Demna stands are going to be on your ass later. Be careful. They're always on my ass. I get comments every day from that Balenciaga video I made of people just being like, who the hell do you think you are? What do you know about fashion? I had someone who, I don't know if he was like projecting. I don't know what it was. It was so strange. But the comment was along the lines of, I don't care if you studied fashion journalism at CSM. I don't care if you're a journalist. I don't even care if you've written for Vogue. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't agree with anything you say. And it's like, God damn. Like, what did I do to you? The personal attacks are crazy. Oh my God. Maria gets way too much hate. She's a skilled and competent dressmaker / tailor. She's just not very imaginative, but nobody is expecting her to be. Yeah, I agree. I just think that, because with Maria, first of all, I think that she's commodifying feminism, and her vision of what feminism is, I don't agree with it. So that's also another thing. And because every single show it's about some feminist artist, or, feminist works that are very, very white and very, very European and very, very stale. Her reference points tend to be very stale. So in terms of like the clothes themselves, the clothes are actually quite nice, which everyone says they're not, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I just think that how she comes to the clothes, because I think so many brands make nice clothes, but it's like, how do you differentiate yourself? And I always hold creative directors of the biggest brands to the highest standard, because you have millions and millions at your disposal to make this collection. So I expect the best of the best. And with Maria, we get nice clothes, but that's all we get. I think people just can't get over the Galliano years. Yeah, that people will forever just talk about Galliano's Dior, which was amazing, but we just have to move on. Like, we have to move on. There have been many designers since. We have to move on all different sides, whether we're talking about Ras Simmons or, like Chris Van Ash, Adi Slimane, like the list goes on, Maria Grazia-Chiuri, Kim Jones, blah, blah, blah. I want to see the spiral dresses being put on. In my head, it's like the most luxurious snap bracelet. I like that. I like that take, actually. I really like that. But yeah, shout out to Pieter Mulier with this collection. I'm going to get some of the detailed shots on Vogue Runway because I just want to have a look at how these things actually look up close. You've also got some other Alaïa references. Like people said, the body hugging silhouettes aren't necessarily there, which is interesting. You have this like fur looking piece, but it's actually merino wool. I always make fun of that thing, like, oh, you think it's denim, but no, it's actually merino wool. Oh, you think this is... It's interesting, though. It is interesting. The fabric manipulation, I think, is a very Alaïa thing. The polka dots is very Alaïa. I feel like when we compare designers to their namesake or others that have been at the house, they will always be set up to fail and never compare. In a way, yes. But if you're a good designer, I think that it doesn't matter, because I think we all understand that, Christian Dior is a very influential designer, but then the designers that came after, the likes of Yves Saint Laurent or Gianfranco and so on, no one says that they were living in Christian Dior's shadow. If anything, Yves Saint Laurent especially was touted as, the next big thing after Dior. In fact, when the house was still open before Dior passed, Yves Saint Laurent started designing a lot of the collections anyway. So in the press, there was this understanding that, Yves Saint Laurent is like super skilled on the level of like a Christian Dior anyway. So I don't think, if you're that good of a designer, I don't think it matters. The only issue is that, once again, like I said earlier, most designers these days, they just don't come from that school of thought that some of the like greatest designers we talk about come from. A lot of them, I don't know what their motives are for being into, maybe like they just want to be designers because they like designing fashion, which is cool, but I don't get the sense that they want to be the best of the best. Like, if you look in the 20th century, so many of the designers were so exceptional because they genuinely wanted to be the top dog. Like, even down to, on Patreon, I talk about like costume designers a lot. So someone I talk about, and I've talked about in the past, is someone like Adrian, who, for you guys that don't know, is a very, very famous and influential costume designer, like Hollywood costume designer, made some of the most important dresses in some of the most famous Hollywood films. And he was an insanely good dressmaker, like insanely good. But once again, I digress. It's just annoying sometimes because it comes across like I'm hating or I'm a hater when I say, oh, this designer, I don't know why, like, their work is really uninspired. And then people are like, oh my God, you're hating. It's like, no, like, trust me. If I start talking about designers who had less resources and what they are making in the 40s, you'll see why I'm saying that. If someone buys these clothes, I wonder how in the world will they wash them and use them again. I guess this is for a particular client. I'd love to see Alaïa in the streets. Yeah, you're definitely not. You'd have to take it to a dry cleaner, and probably not just any dry cleaner. It'd have to be some like specialist dry cleaner that works with. There are these kind of people, like in London, for example. I know certain shoemakers that deal with really expensive shoes because they know how to work with like really expensive shoes and in ways that it won't be damaged. Whereas if you just take it to like a normal person, they might mess up your shoes. The same is the case with dry cleaners. There are dry cleaners that specialize in like clothes that are made in complicated ways with complicated, unusual fabrics. So you just have a very, very high dry cleaning bill, which for rich people, I don't think they care. That is not a very big expense for the kind of person that would buy that kind of dress. If they can even walk in these clothes to even wear them. Exactly. When you have money for high fashion, you have money for dry cleaning, and usually brands have their network of dry cleaners. You say that, but I technically have money for high fashion because I save up and buy like one piece a year. So I guess I have money for high fashion, but I definitely don't have money for like crazy expensive dry cleaning bills. But then I don't buy the kind of clothes that would need that, to be fair. What does you woman you say? Not everyone is going to be a Galliano, McQueen, or Lagerfeld, and that is okay. I feel like those who don't reach that level don't have enough room. Yeah, I mean, when Galliano, McQueen, and Lagerfeld were designing, there were also mid-level brands. There were designers doing loads of things all at the same time. It's just that sometimes, especially now, certain designers are lauded for being like super, super exceptional, and what they're designing is literally oversized hoodies. It's a bit insane. It's a bit insane. Bruno, before we move on to the next topic, any closing thoughts on the Alaïa collection? There are too many not like them at that level today. That's the problem. Yeah, like I said, I can say that Rick Owens is definitely on that level. I can say that, to be honest, the most interesting and skilled designers, they're just not coming from the West. Like when I think of designers that really interest me, in terms of designers that are doing really, 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 really revolutionary, interesting things, a lot of them are like Japanese and Chinese or like African. So I'm thinking of designers like Tebe Magugu. I'm thinking of designers like Murinaga. That's the guy that runs Anirillage. Or I'm thinking of designers like Kei Ninomiya or Ziggy Chen or Uma Wang. Those are, but because we don't think of these brands when we think of like Fashion Week and brands that are always at Fashion Week and stuff, even though they do show at Paris Fashion Week, some of them. I'm trying to think what other. Rick Owens is definitely at that level, 100%. JW Anderson, I would put on that level. Who else is a designer in a modern era that can hang with the McQueens and Gallianos? I think Demna can hang with those designers skill wise. I just think what he's doing now would refrain me from putting him there. But I think from a perspective of what he can actually do, I think he's definitely there. I'm trying to think. Thigh-Skins clears JW Anderson. Thigh-Skins is amazing, to be fair. But I still love JW Anderson. I think he's up there. Glenn Martins, he's halfway there. He's halfway. Okay, Iris Van Herpen is definitely someone who's up there too. Definitely. But then, once again, Iris is like a conversation for another day. Leo said Iris is a hack. Leo is like Leo. Leo thinks like me, but says what I want to say more harshly. So, because what I would say is Iris does things sometimes that are very gimmicky, but because there's technology involved, it's always going to be seen as futuristic regardless of what she does. It doesn't matter what she puts on a runway. People are always going to say it's amazing because it's a spectacle. And when you have a dress going down the runway and then some technology flapping the wings, it works well for like social media. So when Leo says, oh, Iris van Herpen is a hack, I still believe she's a skilled designer. I've literally been to, I went to the MoMU Museum in Antwerp and they were exhibiting some of Iris's work and it's absolutely insane. The construction is insane. So that's not to say she's not an amazing designer, but there are elements of her work that are a bit hacky. But I just wouldn't have said it that way. So it's just funny that Leo said, oh, Iris van Herpen is a hack. Because I know exactly what he means. I know exactly what he means. Well, this is the case for... So this is another thing. When I was at CSM, obviously, in your second to last year, everyone has to do a year in industry. So everyone goes and works for a brand and has to intern there. So I had, classmates that interned at Raf Simons. Some of them interned at J.W. Anderson. Some of them interned at so many different designers. And there were so many brands. Well, so many brands now are just known for having a terrible, workplace culture because so many CSM students have interned there. So we hear so many stories. So there are many designers who we hear are not the best to work for. Iris van Herpen is one of them. Dilara Findakoglu is one of them. Art School is definitely one of them. Art School is terrible. They treat people horribly. I don't even know if that brand is still running because I know so many people were talking about all the issues that they had working there. But yeah. Y'all are just tearing this woman a new one. No, it's just once again, not to say that she's not an exceptional designer because she is, but like he said, in terms of, him saying that, Leo saying that Iris van Herpen is a hack. I understand where it comes from because obviously I explained it earlier. There are aspects of her work that are very hacky. If you send a dress down the runway with, technology making wings flap, I get why people will be crazy about it because it works for social media. It's for TikTok. Not like she made it for TikTok, but I mean it's just destined to do well on TikTok. If I clip that and post it on TikTok and I'm like, Iris van Herpen made these really interesting flapping wings, people are going to go crazy, 1 million views. So it just depends. It really, really just depends. But anyway, in other fashion news, Moschino has a new creative director called Adrian Appiolaza. It's very, very interesting how the brand of J.W. Anderson has managed to produce so many good designers. Because if we think of, and a runway show that I'm really looking forward to is Sean McGear, who also worked at J.W. Anderson. He's now the creative director of Alexander McQueen. I'm waiting patiently for that debut collection. That should be really interesting. And we also have Adrian, who also comes from the school of J.W. Anderson. So very, very interesting to see all his peeps spreading their wings in fashion. So to read their official statement on Instagram, it says, the House of Moschino is pleased to announce the appointment of Adrian Appiolaza as the new creative director. With a decade of experience as women's ready-to-wear design director at Loewe alongside J.W. Anderson, and previously in the same role at Chloe with Claire White-Keller, Appiolaza will oversee the women's, men's, and accessories collections of the Maison, reporting to the executive chairman of 8th SPA Massimo Ferretti. Adrian will make his debut with the Fall-Winter 2024 Women's Collection, which will be showcased on February the 22nd at 6 p.m. Central Eastern Time at the Museo della Permanente during Milan Fashion Week. This location holds a significant place in the brand's history as it hosted the historic exhibition Moschino X Anni di Chaos, 1983 to 1993. In 1993, celebrating the first decade of the brand founded by Franco Moschino. We are happy and honored to welcome Adrian to the family, says Massimo Ferretti. With his arrival at Moschino, Adrian brings with him a unique wealth of experience, creativity, and knowledge of history of fashion that will be instrumental to write a wonderful new chapter in the adventure of the brand founded by Franco Moschino. I was immediately struck by the explosive creativity of Adrian, a personality full of energy and enthusiasm, elements that have always distinguished the history of the Moschino brand. I wish Adrian the best to build a great success story with us. So yeah, very, very interesting story. Of course, it comes with like very sad news because, as most of you know, Jeremy Scott stopped being a creative director at Moschino after a very long tenure. Then, of course, Davide Ren was the creative director, and he had been at Gucci for 2 decades before he went there, and he unfortunately passed. And since then, they've been looking for a replacement. So this is now the new replacement. What are your thoughts on this new appointment at Moschino, and what do you expect from Moschino? And also, what do you like about Moschino in general, if there is anything you like about it? Anni di Chaos means the years of chaos in Italian, by the way. Thank you for the Italian translation. I definitely needed that. Thank you very much. How do you pronounce it? Anni di Chaos. That was a terrible Italian accent. Horrible. JW Anderson's underlings taking over the whole industry. God, I hate it here. I feel like these are the end times. I love it because I love JW Anderson. So I like it. And I think it aligns, because if you think of JW Anderson's work and at Loewe, because that's where Adrian was, it's very surrealist, it's very playful, it's inspired a lot by art history, but also contemporary art. And that is what Moschino is. It's very playful, artful, artsy. So that it aligns aesthetically and, you know, just like vision wise, I think they align. It'll be a bit more difficult for, someone who I don't know, works for Phoebe Philo, like a Peter Doe, to do a Moschino. It wouldn't really align. So I think this appointment actually aligns. I feel like people don't really know about Moschino. They have the cartoonist vision of Scott in mind. Jesus. The new Moschino is a flop until they show something that's better than Jeremy Scott, which I doubt is going to happen. Jeremy was perfect, still devastated, and in mourning. Jeremy was just fun. McDonald's Happy Meals as hats on heads, mirror dresses. It was it was fun. It was fun. Hopefully they do something crazy. I can't stand another Gucci as of right now. Oh, you don't want them to pare things back. Are focused on the craft. I think there's There's a difference between playfulness and childishness. Jeremy Scott and Moschino was usually the latter. Jesus Christ. Everyone has come. I don't know what is in the air today. People have come on smoke. What is in the air tonight? I don't know. I think Moschino was playful. Yes, in a childish way. I can see what you're talking about. There's definitely a childishness. Even like if you think of the themes, like even just this whole like I was making fun of like obviously the Happy Meal sort of McDonald's inspired shows, and you know, like a mirror dress. It's like literally a little kid in their bedroom, like practicing to be a princess. It just reminds me of like when you read about Elsa Schiaparelli, and she talks about how if you, for those of you that know your fashion history, Elsa Schiaparelli talks about how her mum had this really interesting collection of clothes, and Schiaparelli found this like chest, I think in the attic of her house or something like that, and she would just like play dress up in her mum's clothes and just imagine herself in different worlds. And that is also why like surrealism, she's so drawn to surrealism, because that's kind of how she grew up, always dreaming about things, right? So yeah, it just reminds me of that. Just wondering if there are any women designers or other POC designers that would have also been perfect for the creative director role. I mean, there are loads of POC designers that are women. Unfortunately, I think because fashion is like hyper commercial right now, you either have to be a big name designer, so you have to be like famous as hell, like Pharrell, to get a look in, or you have to be, you know, from the right places. I know we have this conversation around the fact that, and I know it was a big conversation, especially for Kering, that there's just like white male designers, which I understand. But I also think that in a way, not necessarily that it's okay, all the designers are white men, but what I do like about the appointments are not, they're not hiring celebrities that don't have a clue what they're doing, like Pharrell. They are hiring designers that are proven, designers that have worked at brands for 10 years, 20 years plus, skilled designers, you know, seasoned designers. Because I remember before that, the conversation we were having was around the fact that what's the point of even becoming a good designer anymore if it doesn't matter? If all that matters is being, you know, famous. So I think now we've shifted into, now we're actually hiring designers that have experience and do come from a design background. So I don't know. I don't know where I sit in that conversation, because there's always going to be something wrong with the appointments. The thing about Simone is that, does Simone want to be a designer at Moschino though? I feel like her brand does well enough for her not to want to be at a major brand. Or they go looking for talents where they are. Christopher Bailey, Claire White Keller, Stefano Pilati all come from Tom Ford. None of them did Tom Ford. Designers who are from POC backgrounds aren't in those senior positions. Okay, so if we're going to have this conversation, let me just put this off the screen so we can have this different conversation now. So when it comes to diversity in fashion and like, you know, Black designers getting the roles and all these kind of things, I think it's a layered issue, because, okay, yes, part of the issue might be, okay, maybe racism, or people, you know, don't want to see POCs in this role, but there are also many other aspects to it. So one aspect is just the fact that a lot of POC people don't work in fashion. If I think of my background, as you guys know, the first degree that I did was chemical engineering, and then I studied fashion journalism at CSM after. The reason why I studied chemical engineering is because I'm Nigerian. And in a Nigerian household, if you're not a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or like some other job along those lines, like a dentist, you're basically like, everyone's going to look at you like what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you studying that? Like, who does that? That's not a real job. That's not. So we're almost socialized into going into careers that are more stable and quote unquote make more money. And the reason for that is because, you know, effects of maybe slavery and effects of many different things means that a lot of Black people are behind economically. So when a lot of our parents are trying to tell us, okay, study this, it's because they don't want our generation to have the same issues as generations before us. So a lot of, I can't speak for other cultures. I'm Nigerian, so I can only speak for Nigerian culture. But in Nigeria, that's why they're always like, you know, we want you to go into these safe roles, these safe jobs. Even if you look at stats of some of the most successful minorities, especially like, let's say in the US, not by like race or whatever, by like country, Nigerians are actually some of the most successful immigrants in the whole of the US by percentage. And the main reason is because we just get pushed into that stuff, whether you like it or not. So what this kind of culture breeds is people that are creative don't ever get to explore their creativity. So most of the POC kids that you see that do work in fashion, some of them have had to fight their family, fight for their right to work in fashion, fight against their parents. Some of them have been disowned by their parents for being creative. Like, it's quite deep. So that means I'm giving you all this context to say that because of all these reasons, even the pool of POC people in fashion is lacking compared to, you know, let's say English people. Because once again, I can't speak for other countries. I can only speak to cultures that I know a lot about. So in England, a lot of people's parents are very supportive. Like a lot of my white English friends, whatever they do, their parents are like, oh, that's amazing. We'll support you. Whatever you do, that's great. That's fine. So maybe other people culturally have the freedom to feel like they can pursue creative fields. And maybe also because they're more financially well off, they have more scope to work in fashion, because in fashion, to gain experience, you might have to do an unpaid internship in London. And how can you afford to live in London if you're not rich, right? Because if you're being unpaid for an internship, how are you going to pay rent in London? That's really expensive. How are you going to afford bills, right? So there's so many aspects to it. Racism is obviously one issue. That's a part of it, but it's quite layered. So yeah, I just thought I'll mention that because I haven't actually spoken about that in a stream or something like that. But I think that, you know, sometimes we look at the issue in a very narrow way, because even like most people that I talk to, like even let's say like when I go on dates, like a lot of the women that I go on dates with are Black women, right? And every time I say that, and a lot of them are Nigerian too, and every time I say that, oh, like, I work in fashion, or I'm a fashion journalist and I study fashion journalism at uni, they're like, people study that as a degree? You don't need to study that. Like, why do you need to study fashion in school? Like, that's not, can't you just learn that on your own? because sometimes I feel like we are in our fashion bubble sometimes, and I feel like if we come out of that fashion bubble, we actually realize that it's a deeper issue. There are many other issues. Someone said, Jamaican here, this is so true. I'm third generation Black Caribbean. My family just want me and my cousins to do what makes us happy and pay bills. Most of us are self-employed now. What did Leah say? This happens a lot at Cambridge. Most PSCs go for degrees with a clear economic/financial trajectory, like law or medicine. Very few do arts/humanities degrees like English or classics. Exactly. That's why I date women who are creative academics. As a Black girl, wanting to pursue fashion was difficult to understand for my family. In a way, the fact that there are people like Bernard Arnault, big money, kind of made fashion serious for my family. When I went to Parsons, my family said good luck, but it was very clear not to ask for money towards this money pit of a career. I know exactly what that feels like. I was on a pathway to do law and just kind of realized that almost 30, I can actually make money doing art/humanities. Never told it was possible. I mean, also, okay, let's even come out of the POC conversation. Like, so I went to sixth form. Sixth form in the UK is where you go to school between the ages of 16 to 18. It's before you go to university. University is what Americans call college. And I went to a really good sixth form, like academically is really good. It's a specialist maths and languages school. So my school was exceptionally good at maths and languages. And when I remember my school, when we used to have like career visits and visits from different people that will tell us about different careers, they only told us about engineering and like maths and stuff because that's just what was expected of us. And when it came to universities, the way people used to view university was like, okay, you need to get into Oxford or Cambridge. That was like the mentality in my school is like, if you don't get into Oxford or Cambridge, you at least have to go to a Russell Group school. And if you don't, you've basically flopped. That was like the mentality. So to even think of art was just so like, fashion? What? That was so far removed from like the reality. It was just insane. It's a deeper issue, it's true, but I can tell you it's also a convenient situation for these brands. I can tell you from my own experience. Yeah, I'm not saying that obviously, like I said, an element might be racism or they don't want POCs to be in these roles, but I just thought I'd add more context that there are many other reasons too, because, you know, the talent pool of POCs is not the same as the talent pool of like, let's say white people. So let's say for every POC you have working in the fashion industry, you might have 15 white people. So if we just go by mathematical probabilities, it's just way more likely you're going to hire a white person because there's just way more white people in the industry, especially in the West, like where these brands are situated, like, you know, Paris, Milan, Rome, all these kind of places, London. Yeah, I agree. There is a big racism and classism issue in fashion. I agree. Rishi, the Tory puppet muppet, wanting to force kids to stay on mass till 18, yet defunding the arts. Jail. Yeah, don't even get me started about the UK government. Absolute disaster, mate. Absolute disaster. Absolute disaster, mate. Yeah, there is a lot of racism, and also even so, racism is also something that like there's layers to it, right? Because there's everything from, let's say, upper class people who are just super racist and like hate black people to their core. They hate POCs to their core, and then there are some people that are just oblivious to it, which is almost just as bad. And I didn't actually know this was a thing until I went to sixth form, right? Because basically, like before I went to sixth form, because my school was really white. I'd never been in an area that was that white in my entire life till I went to sixth form. So I was born and grew up in London, very multicultural. Then I moved to Nigeria for 7 years, which is basically just everyone is black, apart from like a few other people. Like there's like quite a few Lebanese people, quite a few Indians, quite a few like people from China in Nigeria, and then that was kind of it. So apart from that, everyone was just black. So that was kind of what I was used to. So my idea of what racism was like the people that are really hateful and like, you know, will say things like, I've had friends that have applied for jobs in the UK and they don't get the job because in the interview, the employer is like, we like your resume, but just as a last thought, we just thought that you don't fit into the work culture because, there's no one here that, looks like you. And they like say that so brazenly. So that was like my idea of like racism, like people blocking your opportunities deliberately, people saying the N-word, people, calling people like me monkeys behind my back, all that kind of crap, right? But then when I went to where I went to sixth form, these people were just so ignorant, and it didn't come from a place of like hate, it just came from a place of stupidity. It came from a place of, because when I went to sixth form, I just came back from Nigeria. So in this school, people are asking me really dumb questions about Nigeria. Like I remember one girl in my class asked me, how come you have social media? Like, do you guys have like internet in Nigeria? Like, how do you have like you're on like Facebook and like Twitter and stuff? And I'm like, fucking hell, like I'm in a school that's like known for academic achievement. In this school, we have some of the smartest students in the whole country. We have some of the best grades in the whole country in the school. And here we have this girl asking me if I have internet in Nigeria in the 21st century. Like, and it didn't even come from a place of like I hate black people or racism. It just came from like just a lack of brain cells, because anyone with half a brain knows that there's internet in every country in the world. It's literally the 21st century. But sometimes when people are just not exposed, there's just lapses in like the way they think. And I experienced a lot of that in that school that made me realize, oh, so some people are actually really racist, and then some people are ignorant, and then they do things that can be seen as racist. Like, that's why I'll be working in fashion, and then it doesn't occur to people to have diversity until they look at me. So I've been working for a big brand. I won't say what brand, but there was a time when I was working for this really big brand, and we were doing this campaign, and they were picking models for the campaign, and every model that they picked was like typical tall, white, blonde, blue eyes. And then they looked at me after picking all the models, and they're like, "Oh, Ayo, do you have any black models that you like that you'd like to recommend?" So my life experience has made me realize there's actually layers to like racism and prejudice, and like why POCs are left out of these spaces. So racism is definitely a factor, but there are so many other layers that obviously need to be explored too. But yeah, you have better odds as a POC with a British white person in fashion, but Italian fashion companies, forget it. French, I'll say, is 50-50. What did Gabrielle say? Yeah, but if you're ignorant and you just ask a question to learn, it's okay, but you're not being hateful. Yeah, I mean, obviously, she like I said, it didn't come from a hateful place when she was asking me if like we have internet in Nigeria, but it just like it was so stupid. It was such a stupid statement that I didn't even know how to respond. I didn't even know what to say, because it's just like I've only lived in two countries, England and Nigeria, and I know in every other country in the world there's internet. So it was just so like it was just so insane. I was just like, I get it. Like, she just didn't know, but it's like, you should know. You just should know that, though. Like, you just should know that. Like, it's a naivety in an adult that's baffling. Exactly. It's so baffling. Like, it's just like, how can you lack intelligence that much to ask me such a question? And how old was she? Like, at that point, we were 17. I just feel like at the age of 17, certain things, there's no excuse. If you were like 11, ignorant, I would get it. At the age of 17, that's insane. Like, that's so insane. it's just so like mind-boggling. It's just so, it's like, wow. It's just like, wow. A person I talked to once thought we all do our shopping at bazaars in Turkey. Why are people so like unenlightened? I don't understand, because we actually live in an internet age. Like, now should be the time more so than ever that people shouldn't be that stupid or think those kind of things. People think the whole of Turkey is just one grand bazaar. I think everywhere you walk in Turkey, you're just walking through the Grand Bazaar. That's crazy. Oh my God, people are actually so silly. The arrogance of ignorance. I love that. I personally think they do it on purpose. So I can actually tell. I'm really good at like reading body language and like knowing people's intentions. That comes from life experience. So I can tell you the ones that say it and they're trying to be, you know, like cheeky. And then I know the ones that say it that are actually, you know, being like, they just genuinely don't know. It comes from ignorance, and that people do it on both ends. So some people do it on purpose, and then some people, they're just that ignorant. A lot of people at Cambridge are very sheltered / more ignorant than actually malicious. Yeah, I mean, like, for example, let me since we're talking about this, let me show you guys a map of where my school was, just to give you, especially for guys that aren't from the UK, just to give you a sense of why this shit was so insane to me about like why people didn't know. So let me see if I can share this on the screen, and then we'll move to the next news story. But this is kind of fun because we can talk about things like this in our live stream. But okay, so this is the map of the UK. This is England right here, obviously. So obviously I've got loads of bookmarks in London, places I go to all the time. Don't watch that. But okay, so this is London, right? This is London here. This bit here is like London. Now, where my school was is in Kent, which is like all the way here. So my school was here in an area called Sandwich, right? This is where my school was, in Sandwich, which is kind of funny. The name is kind of funny. Now, think of how close this area here is to London. Like, look at where London is. London is here, and Sandwich is here. You can take a 2-hour train to London from Sandwich. Yet, when I went to school in Sandwich, everyone was telling me, oh my God, you're my first black friend. You're the first black person I've talked to on a level. You're the first black person I've this, that. And I'm like, have you not been to London? You're right there. This is Kent here. This is London. Like, it's just there. It's literally a 1.5 hour train. If you take the high speed train, you'll get to London in 1.5 hours. How have you not met black people before? How? And it wasn't like a really poor area. It wasn't like a working class area. So it wasn't like, there's no excuse of, oh, we can't afford to take the train or travel to London or whatever. It's like, how? How can you be so ignorant when you're so close to London? I don't get it. I don't understand it. And it's also like the demographics of England, because obviously what I was used to was obviously growing up in London. So I was just used to multicultural London. Quite literally in England, in every direction from London, to be fair, but the further you go this way, the whiter it goes. And when I went to school in Sandwich, a lot of like my friends from school, they lived in all these surrounding areas. So like Dover, Deal, Ramsgate, Broadstairs, Margate, all these kind of places, Aylsham. These places are white as hell, which is so interesting because it's so close to London. but the demographic is so different. But anyway, that's the geography lesson. That's the geography lesson for the stream. People in Sandwich definitely got bread. It was an expensive area because it's by the coast. So a lot of like rich people, their like retirement houses are there. So they have retirement houses by the coast and like by the beach. So that's why it's like kind of like an expensive areas. Like you'd see people driving like Bentleys and stuff. Oh my God, you live in Gillingham. That's not too far from Sandwich. So Jackie knows all about what I'm talking about. Jackie knows exactly what I'm talking about. Glad to know Margate in the UK is as white as Margate in South Africa. They live a segregated life and they do not think to venture beyond it. I guess that's what it is, but I just wouldn't want to live my life that way. Why wouldn't you want to be like exposed and just learn about different people and different cultures and like the way different people live and the way different people interact? It gives you a better understanding of just the world and life in general. And there's always stuff you can learn from different cultures and different people, because people do things differently and you can always learn from people that do things differently to you. So I just think it's a very closed-minded way to just live your life. To only concern yourself with like things that are like immediately around you and stuff. Especially once again, now that we have the internet. Oh my God, Gabrielle said, I went to Japan and Japanese people kept taking pics of my mom because she's blonde. Really? That's really interesting. Check out the population of every Margate in every relic of the British Empire. No, this conversation is actually hilarious. Oh my God, your relatives are in York. I know all about York. I went to so I study chemical engineering at University of Leeds, which is quite close to York. So I did go to York a few times for a bit of a night out. I explored Northern England when I was at uni there. I went to like Newcastle, Manchester, York, Huddersfield. I went around. Yeah, just like what Oliver is saying, especially with the internet, there are no excuses. But that's why it shocks me. But the reason why I'm having this conversation is just to say that like the conversation around lack of POCs at the top of fashion is layered. It's very, very layered. There's many elements to it. Leads for uni and a night out in York. York also makes good Yorkshire pudding, just saying. If you get a Yorkshire pudding in York, it's nice. It's nice. Excellent. Such pretty country. Maybe you can explain why my British relatives absolutely refuse to travel more than 20 minutes from their home. I have no idea. I couldn't answer that for you. Yeah, they do make good clotted creams in York. They do make good clotted creams. They actually do. They do. That's a good point. I'm laughing because it's just funny because it feels like I was in York yesterday, like just remembering all this stuff. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Anyway, moving on to the next topic of discussion today. We're going to be talking about the world's most famous influencer that we all love to hate and we hate to love, Kim Kardashian. And why we're talking about Kim Kardashian is because quite recently, Kim Kardashian was named as Balenciaga's ambassador, which actually was quite surprising to me because I don't know why I just assumed that Kim Kardashian was always Balenciaga's ambassador, but she just wasn't, Balenciaga's ambassador officially, and they made it official quite recently, which is very interesting because not that long ago, if you guys remember when the Balenciaga scandal happened and, Kim Kardashian was distancing herself from Balenciaga, and I remember in articles at the time of Kim Kardashian talking about how she's selling her Balenciaga. Here's one of the articles. Kim Kardashian sells discounted Balenciaga items after teddy bear scandal. She was selling all her items, getting rid of everything, saying that she's reevaluating her relationship with Balenciaga in the wake of the ad scandal. She was saying she's going to keep her distance from the brand. Look at what a statement. As a mother of 4, I have been shaken by the disturbing images, Kardashian continued. The safety of children must be held with the highest regard, and any attempts to normalize child abuse of any kind should have no place in our society, period. She said she's currently reevaluating my relationship with the brand, basing it off their willingness to accept accountability for something that should have never happened to begin with, and the actions I'm expecting to see them take to protect children. I appreciate Balenciaga's removal of the campaigns and apology in speaking with them. I believe they understand the seriousness of the issue and will take the necessary measures for this to never happen again, she added. And it's very interesting that not too long after, we're back to Kim Kardashian being an ambassador for Balenciaga and Kim Kardashian doing like a bag campaign, which I actually thought was hilarious. I thought it was very hilarious that the campaign that she did with Balenciaga after the announcement was a closet campaign, because it's a bit weird considering that she's the same person that was selling her bags for a discounted price. Did she have that many bags that she still had a closet full of Balenciaga bags even after she quote unquote sold all those bags? Here's the Balenciaga closet campaign from Kim Kardashian. And it just shows you that this is why a lot of celebrities, anything they say, just take it with a grain of salt. Lack of integrity, lack of backbone, a lack of, and it's not even because obviously people have different opinions on the scandal and whatever. That's not even the issue. The issue is saying one thing and then doing the other. That's what the issue is. If you wanted to be, you're a fan of Balenciaga, you didn't care, then stand on it. Say, I still love Balenciaga. I'm still a fan of Demna's work. I'm still going to support Demna. Don't go out and be making all these PR statements like, oh, I'm distancing myself from the brand. I want to sell my bags. And then the moment they throw cash at you, it's like, oh, I'm the ambassador. Look at my 50 Balenciaga bags. Here's my closet tour. She just sold all the bags Kanye left at the crib. She wasn't standing on business is the point. She wasn't. She did the right thing then. What did she do that is contradictory? What she did that is contradictory is selling Balenciaga bags and like saying that she's distancing herself from the brand and then running back to it to be the ambassador not that long after. That is what she did. That's contradictory. If you distance yourself from a brand, you don't become the ambassador of the brand not long after. That's not how to distance yourself from a brand. Wait, Yellow said it was 130 bags. Oh my gosh. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I know she has an online shop selling all her stuff. The issue is not to do with the fact that she had an online selling her stuff. It's the fact that she specifically was talking about how she was reducing the prices of the Balenciaga pieces that she was selling at the time because of the scandal. That's something that actually happened then. It's funny that now the brand is having a hard time. They're going back to Nicolas Gasquier's designs. Are they? Are they? I think we're still in the Demna era of, just making. We're still making, merch. We're still in the Demna merch line era. I feel like. So I don't think so. When you say you want to quit smoking, so you buy a vape. Yeah, you missed the Alaia part, but you can watch it back. I'll leave it up after. I'll leave it back after. when when you want to quit smoking cigs, so you start smoking cigars. I have never taken Kim seriously, nor will I ever in the future. She's clearly obsessed with fame and attention and will do anything to get and maintain it. Yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah, when it comes to celebrities, this is why, like, even though I know that, say, if I was to do like red carpet reviews and stuff like that, it would get a lot of views. It's just so that side of fashion is very, I'm not interested in it because of like things like this. It's just so, it's all about money and it's all about like fame and it's not a lot of substance to it. The brand is not doing well. I know this for a fact. The recent feedbacks on the selling campaign are not hopeful. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you many reasons why I think the brand is not doing well. One of the reasons being the clothes themselves. Am I looking forward to Sean McGee's debut for McQueen? Yeah, I am. I said it earlier. I'm not sure, Leo, if you were in the stream when I was talking about it. When I was talking about, actually, you were when I was talking about J.W. Anderson's prodigies spreading across the fashion realm. This is all celebrities. They rarely have integrity unless the appearance / aesthetic of integrity can get them more money, which of course isn't really integrity. Yeah, it just reminds me of I always reference this book, but it probably just goes to show how good this book is. But How Luxury Lost Its Luster. There's a chapter in the book that talks about the rise of stylists in fashion and how they came to be. I'm not going to bore you with all the history of how that happened, but essentially, there's a lot of mention in the book of how, it first went from designers wanting to dress different celebrities and stylists being the middlemen for that, or the middlewoman, or, depending on the context. But then it goes on to how stylists then realize that they can become famous from it. So then they started prioritizing their own fame over, dressing their clients well. Then they started to, compete for, money and stuff. So then stylists started doing things where it was like, okay, I'm clients with the biggest actress of this season who might win an Oscar. So if you want me to dress my client in your designs, you have to pay for my BBL and pay for my holiday to the Maldives and give me a 20K bonus and do this and do that. And the brands would do it. And so what has happened, I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that. I definitely think that as an individual, if you can get money from a brand, any way you can do it, fair enough, I guess. I think the issue with it is more when you meet, and as someone that works in fashion, that I don't go into fashion with that perspective. When you meet a lot of people that work in fashion, you just tend to meet a lot of people that are they're either looking for ways to be more famous or to get more money. And if you're not going to offer them any of these two things, you're basically useless to them. So they're not really good at making genuine friendships or relationships, or they're just not even genuine people to their core. Everything is just about, you know, trying to social climb and all that sort of stuff. So it just creates a really disgusting culture. And that's why I steer away from it. And it just reminds me of like even these celebrities, like this whole Kim Kardashian thing. It just reminds me of these kind of things. Pay for my BBL. I was exaggerating with the BBL, but there are cases of stylists making brands pay for like certain procedures and stuff. I don't think I've ever heard of a specific one of a BBL. That was me exaggerating, but definitely like I've heard boob jobs. I've heard Botox. Yeah, I've heard different things. Shout out to Ozempic gang. Oh my God. Let's read this Vogue article about Kim Kardashian becoming Balenciaga ambassador. So, written by Hannah Jackson on the 23rd of January, Kim Kardashian adds ambassador to her CV. Kim Kardashian can add yet another line to her already stacked resume, ambassador. While the reality star and entrepreneur isn't dipping her toes into foreign diplomacy yet, she's taking her partnership with Balenciaga to the next level as the house's new brand ambassador. The Skims founder is a noted fan of Demna's work at Balenciaga, which is true. I mean, she's been wearing the brand forever. That's why I actually assumed that she was an ambassador already, because she's basically Demna's muse at this point. All the looks we can think of, even like on the Met Gala, you know, her covering her face with Kanye, or the tape dress thing, the caution tape dress thing. Like, I just thought she was an ambassador, so it's quite interesting. Let's see what else it says in this article. She attended the 2021 Met Gala as his guest, walked the couture show in 2022, and starred in countless house campaigns. She's also arguably the world's foremost panta boot enthusiast. That's true. Kardashian's fondness for the brand predates Demna's 2015 arrival, though. She too was influenced by the much-hyped city bag carried by the likes of Naughty's It Girls, Sienna Miller, and the Olsen sisters. Every cool girl had one, and I wanted one so badly, she tells Vogue. And I finally got a black one. Kardashian has since added many more designer bags to her collection, which she fills with a range of essentials. I never leave the house without lip liner, lip balm, cream blush, and a credit card, she says. I also carry a pack of Orbit gum because I'm obsessed, and a resistance band since I'm still rehabbing my shoulder and I try to sneak in some exercises. Kim has marked her new role with a campaign shot by documentary photographer Platon. For a woman who has spent the last decade in front of camera, it may come as a surprise that Kardashian holds photo shoots in a different regard. Campaign and editorial shoots are very different than having our show cameras around, she says. I've definitely become so much more comfortable and confident at shoots. I really enjoy the creative process and working with a photographer on concepts to bring the idea to life. Kardashian is already jumping into her role head first with a new campaign expected in the coming days, which obviously we saw the campaign. So yeah, that is the story of Kim K, now as the latest brand ambassador for Balenciaga. I like how celebrities always try to paint themselves in a very different light. Like, oh, I'm rehabbing my shoulder. So, you know, I just take my resistance band everywhere. So while I'm in my G-Wagon, I throw in some exercises because I'm rehab. What could Kim Kardashian possibly do to her shoulder that she needs to rehab like she's a pro athlete? What did she do to her soldier? I said soldier, her shoulder. What did she do? Was she playing like posh girl tennis and then dislocated her shoulder? Yeah, the ad is cheap as F. I think what they were trying to do, they were trying to go for that like the norm core advert aesthetic, but it just came across looking a bit naff. I don't think they wanted it to look naff, but that's how it ended up looking. Posh girl tennis. Look, the amount of times I've hurt myself doing regular shit is wild. It's rough out here post 25, lost sleep wrong and need hip surgery. The thing is, we are normal people though. We're talking about Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian doesn't do anything. She probably has a driver. She has cooks at home. That's why, what's her name? Who was it? Was it Kylie Jenner or was it, who was the person that couldn't even cut a cucumber? Who was that again? So that just shows you they have chefs, they don't lift a finger. So what are you doing that you dislocated your shoulder? Like you don't even do anything. The best thing she could do is that next year she could announce that she has been signed as the Balenciaga brand ambassador again and pretend it hadn't happened previously. Ah, it was Kendall Jenner. There we go. Kendall Jenner, she couldn't even cut a cucumber. And the way she was cutting that cucumber, she almost sliced her finger. I was like, why are you cutting it like that? Why are you cutting it like that? So yeah, that's why I said it's either, you know, Kim Kardashian does those her funny exercises, you know, like every like posh LA girl, they're like skinny because they just don't eat. Like, have you seen Kim Kardashian like the way she eats? She barely eats anything. She's even like, I'm quite surprised. The way she eats, you would think she would be like a stick. She eats so little, like when you watch her show. But that's why it's always funny when she's doing all these workouts and then, you know, making all these like workout plans and then saying that, you know, if you do these like exercises, you'll be in shape. Like, have you seen the dodgy ass exercises that like all these celebrities be doing? It's so funny. It'd be like some wrist rotation with weights. Like this works on your forearm muscles. Like celebrities are so entertaining. The hold like some some 1 pound dumbbells doing this. Like, yeah, this is an arm toner exercise. Like, who the hell tones their arms by holding 1 pound dumbbells doing that? Oh my days. Looks like they're pivoting back to celebrity obsession after they realized that it's about the craft narrative wasn't going to stick. I know, right? When they were talking about, it was Demna, I always bring it up, and I don't think he'll ever outlive that thing from me where he was saying it's about the craft, I'm focusing about the craft, nothing I do is for social media, nothing I do is for hype, and then you literally, your muse is basically the most famous influencer on Instagram. To be fair, every like pretentious celebrity does it. I'm just talking about Kim Kardashian because obviously we're talking about her now, but a lot of celebrities do it, to be fair. Like they get surgery and then they start doing some dead ab exercises. Like if you do 10 crunches a day, you'll get abs. Like, no, that's not how you get abs. You got surgery. Stop it. You didn't get abs by doing 10 crunches a day. Like, stop it. Celebrity culture is just hilarious these days. It's just so funny. So funny. Like, what I want you guys to do, hold your 1 pound dumbbells, Rotations. These work on your obliques. These work on your obliques. Ozempic magic, exactly. they're, they're getting Ozempic, and then they're literally talking about, oh, I walk 1,000 steps a day. You don't need to do much. You just walk 1,000 steps a day and you lose all this weight. Oh, man. Post-surgery, you still have to maintain the body you just bought. Yeah, you do, but it has nothing to do with exercise. So, for example, like, say you get a BBL, you need someone, from my understanding, not like I've gotten a BBL or something, but from my understanding is that when you get a BBL, you need to massage you need to get like massages so that the fat tissue stays where you want the tissue to be. Otherwise, it might, like, the shape of it might be really weird. So there's a lot of aftercare that you need to be done, but that's not exercise though, because you see a lot of celebrities or influencers that get BBLs and then they start selling like workout programs that have like squats. And they're obviously doing squats with terrible form. They don't know what they're doing, clearly. They're not even, their bum is not passing their knees on their squat, and they're trying to convince us that that is how their bum became that big. No, sorry, miss, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, madam. I do the Italian influencers who literally sold exercises on her app that were like the things you just described. PT and bodybuilders literally threatened her. Yeah, so for guys that don't know, I'm actually a qualified personal trainer. I actually have like a certificate. Like, I went to school to study personal training. So when I was in uni in Leeds, that was how I supported myself financially. I used to like train people. So like, I'm not just chatting out my ass. I actually know what I'm talking about. So that's why I always make fun of those exercises. It's like, like wrist rotations, guys. Wrist rotations, guys. Honestly, I see a lot of famous people in real life at my work, and their body is not like it looks on TV or movies or photos. Yeah, like, anyone that knows anything about working out knows that you need to do progressive overload so when people say, oh, toned arms, you don't tone arms by just doing this movement loads of times. That's not going to stimulate enough of a change in your body. So men naturally have a lot of testosterone. So when we lift weights and we do progressive overload, naturally our muscles get bigger. But if you're a woman, then you don't have the testosterone men have. So that's why you become like more toned and you just get lean muscle mass. Whereas for men, we just get a lot of hypertrophy. So as a woman, if you want to get toned arms, you just need to progressively overload. So if you want toned arms, you need to get on a tricep cable machine, you need to do dumbbell curls, and you need to progressively overload with time. You don't flipping stand still with a 1 pound weight doing that. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna get toned arms, guys. It's like, what? What kind of world are we living in? Yeah, body weight exercises are really good because whatever your body weight is, it's quite heavy to lift your own body weight. So that's why like things like calisthenics are really, really effective. Really, really effective. What exercises do? I don't do many exercises. I'm the traditional deadlift, bench press, squat. Yeah, I just do really, really traditional, tried and tested exercises that actually work. Yeah, but I don't do too many exercises. I do things like calf raises with a barbell, like pull-ups, all that kind of stuff. If you follow me on Instagram, you might get the occasional me in the gym doing like hanging leg raises and stuff like that. But yeah. I can't even lift a can without dying. Everything is progression, right? So you don't need to be able to do a pull-up. You can do, like pull-ups from the floor onto a rack. That's like, this is like personal trainer me coming. But you can progress into every exercise that exists. So there are exercises that you can do to progress into a pull-up. And then when you progress into a pull-up, then you can do like one pull-up, and then eventually you can do two, then three, then four. It just takes time. Like with everything else. How much do I deadlift? I don't actually know because I don't test 1 rep maxes because I'm not an ego lifter. I'm not the guy that goes into the gym like, oh, I'm so strong. So I never test what the heaviest weight I can lift is. I just, over the years, I've gradually, progressively overloaded. So right now, I do 4 sets of 12 reps of 140 kilos deadlift. But that means that every time I go into the gym, I do like, if I'm doing deadlifts, I do 48 reps of 140 kilos. So maybe I could, if I was to just test my 1 rep max, it might be in the high 200s, but I don't know that, and I'm never going to test it because ego lifting and testing 1 rep maxes is just like, you're just going to injure yourself. For what? Like, I'm not a professional bodybuilder. I'm not a professional powerlifter. Like, what am I trying to prove? Testing what my 1 rep max is just so I can boast, oh, I can like deadlift 270 kilos. So I don't actually know what my 1 rep max is. I'll never know because I don't train that way. So I just have no idea. I know this is random, but what's your favorite Privé perfume fragrance from Dior? Oh, that's a good question. So in the summer, I really like Gris Dior. Gris Dior is really nice for the summer. Overall, I would say probably Ambre Nuit. Ambre Nuit is a really good fragrance. It's really cool. Fashion was better when people were less healthy, smoked, and cared more about the big ideas than big pores. I love that take. That's hilarious. Need your analysis / reaction to some Redditors attempt to reverse engineer Rick Owens' workout schedule from interviews and Vogue footage of his home gym. I've never heard of that. What? I didn't know that was a thing. I've never, ever heard of it. That's so interesting. But anyway, to move on, the last thing I wanted to talk about is trends in fashion. So what we're going to talk about, because the trend that is all the rage on TikTok and everyone is talking about it in fashion right now, is the mob wife aesthetic. It's this like the woman that wears fur that apparently looks like a mob wife. And this is what everyone is talking about on TikTok. So I actually have a TikTok that we can watch where someone was talking about, in their words, what the mob wife aesthetic is. And then after that, I really want to talk about sort of trend cycles in fashion right now and how ridiculous I personally think it is. But anyway, let's watch.
Clean girl is out, mob wife is in. Here's what this means. We're doing messy hair, we're doing big furs. If your hair isn't perfectly slicked back, that is totally fine. It's an attitude, it's an aura. We all want to be the mob boss's wife. Clean girl is out, mob wife is in.
So yeah, that's the mob wife aesthetic. It's very weird, like wearing leather trench coats and, you know, fur jackets and sunglasses. It's really weird. And why I wanted to bring this mob wife trend up is because it's more of like a question of, why do you guys think that these days we have to just label everything? Like, women have been wearing cheetah fur forever. why do we just need to label it as mob wife now? Why do we have to like ballet core, cottage core, norm core, gorp core? Why does everything have to be a core? And why are micro trends so fast on TikTok? It's so insane. It's so different to when I was young. When I was young, fashion trends actually lasted like 3 or 4 years, no joke, before like this whole like TikTok era. Like I remember when people were wearing skinny jeans and studded belts and all that stuff, that sticked for like 3 years, the swag era. Trend cycles are not as fast. Now, it seems like every 3 weeks, people are like changing their whole wardrobe. It's like, oh, you want to look like ballerinas now? Oh, okay, now we want to look like mob wives. Okay, now we want to just kind of look like we hike, even though we just walk to the cafes in our city. Yellow says, because people want to make content. I guess that's a good point, because it is a content farm, isn't it? It's always like, so long as you have a new trend to manufacture and to create, then you can just kind of, get someone to wear a one sailor hat and call it the sailor wife, sailor core. Swag era still going with me. It's timeless. Wait, no way. There's clown core. Can someone explain to me what clown core is? I've never heard clown core. I've never heard of that ever. Is that actually a thing? Every fashion Pinterest comment section is just, what aesthetic is this? What's the name of this style? This is a good take. People like to be told what to do. But then I think people kind of have always wanted to be told what to do. But then let's say before TikTok, we didn't necessarily have to label things that already existed, that we kind of just understood existed, if that makes sense. But then going back to like Iola's point about, it being good for content, it might just be to feed the content farm. Fashion reflects society. It shows people's inability today to decide upon who they want to be. Really good take. So that people can search trends faster if they have some kind of name on it, and then search it online to buy similar items. That's a strong point, actually, because people have said that these like core names and these trend namings are actually good for like brands, because you can then have a norm core or gorp core section on your website. So it makes things easier to sell, because people that want to buy the latest trend can literally shop by trend on your website and just buy the whole look. Which is crazy that people, like, individuality has been so lost from style that people are literally going to stores to buy a trend look, like the whole look, the whole aesthetics. Quite insane. Yeah, just like what Ao is saying. As soon as you can tag it, you can sell it, anything to prove you're on to the next thing first. I guess that's also another thing, right? Because that's like this concept of people wanting to be the first to do things. So it's this thing where I invented the, mob wife thing. I'm the first person to talk to it. So I guess people want to laud themselves as innovators. So I guess in a way, for content creators, it makes a lot of sense to create a name for a trend so that you're tied to that trend and you're sort of like the innovator that, started this trend on TikTok, and you get your Vogue interviews and your Women's Wear Daily and Elle magazine interviews, and you do the cycle, and then it's on to the next person. And I think it's quite interesting that this trend is coinciding with, the release of Griselda on Netflix. That Netflix series on Griselda Blanco's life is very, very interesting, because a lot of people have been tying the mod wife aesthetic with the fact that they're bringing that show back this year. Very, very strange. Microtrends are a result of overconsumption, and overconsumption comes from TikTok. It's a vicious self-eating cycle. Yeah, I think I'm very unaware of what goes on TikTok, in the sense that there are people that literally do like live stream shopping on TikTok. I don't understand it. I've never actually seen one happen, but I know it does happen. And I don't know how. Maybe people just have a lot of money. Maybe I'm just broke. Maybe maybe that's what it is. Because I do not have enough money to just be on a live stream and I see something I like and I'm just like, oh, let me buy it. I have to like write things that I like down. I have to think about it for 6 months before I finally buy it. I just can't be that impulsive with purchases. I just do not have that kind of money. So maybe kids these days on TikTok, they're making money in ways I don't know. The kids these days must be rich, because that's why, kids these days wear Balenciaga and things like that. When I was younger, I was wearing Lonsdale, and I was shopping at the clearance section of TK Maxx. Nowadays, kids are walking around with Canada Goose jackets. So maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just broke. I always say people underestimate how rich the world is. There's a lot of money sloshing around. We just don't have it. Good point. I also think the mob wife aesthetic is due to the Sopranos being such a thing in pop culture more than Griselda. That's actually a really good point, by the way. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I with his walking stick. Back in my day, trends weren't so fast. Klarna, the biggest winners here. Oh yeah, people do buy things that they don't need using Klarna. I find the concept of that insane. The only time you should be using Klarna, I mean, geez, I'm not a financial advisor, but if someone was to ask me, the only time you should be using things like Klarna is when it's something that's necessary, that you actually need. But using Klarna to buy like clothes when you already have enough clothes, to me is crazy. But yeah, I just remembered, yeah, people do buy clothes with Klarna. Damn. Paying monthly to look like a mob wife. 2024 people. They're buying it on credit, including Afterpay, Klarna, etc. Let me Google mob wife and see what comes up. How about mob wife aesthetic 2024? A lot of like the cheetah prints that they associate with this sort of mob wife look. It's such a strange name as well, mob wife. Why do you want to look like a mob wife? The internet is a strange place. Imagine being some like posh kid from the suburbs, like, talking about, I want to look like a mob wife. Like, what is that about? JLo used to dress like that, but also a lot of women from New York dress like that. Yeah, I think it's it's very cool to dress, even in like hip hop. There's a lot of women historically have kind of dressed in this like cheetah print with fur, with the like long boots and stuff like that. It's a cool aesthetic. I think calling it mob wife to me is what is just a bit crazy. Like the name is a bit mad, like mob wife. It's almost like racially coded, because like, not saying that obviously white people don't dress like that, but in the back of my head, a lot of people that dress this way tend to be like black artists, especially like New York black women and stuff. So to call it mob wife is just a bit interesting. Yeah, exactly. Like Lil Kim is one of the first things that comes to mind when I think of that sort of look. People holding to the slightest source of novelty and distraction of their consumerist meaningless void being. Damn. 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 Yeah, that's what I was saying about the racially coded thing, like ghetto core. I know we've had conversations about these in the past, you know, like urban. Urban, yeah, exactly. Leo. Perfect timing, Leo. Perfect timing. Urban with the ER. Exactly. Mary J. Blige used to dress like that too. That's a good, yeah. Mary J. Blige is also someone that, yeah, like the fur coat with the heels and yeah, thigh high heels. That's very Mary J. Blige. Every time obviously I know Mary J. Blige is like a really good singer and like that's what she's known for, but I can't unsee her as just like a character from Power. She's such a good actress that now I just associate her as like the characters that she acts as. I sometimes I even forget, oh yeah, she used to make music that my mum used to blast when I was younger in the car, just blast Mary J. Blige and like Alicia Keys and all that sort of stuff. All of Alicia Keys' old music, I know every single lyric word for word, and it's not by choice. Mary J. Blige too, it's not by choice. Because those were the days when obviously we used to listen to music via CDs. So we didn't have that many CDs. So we had like an Alicia Keys CD, a Mary J. Blige CD, and we just used to rinse those two. We used to rinse those two, rinse those CDs. Yeah, I associate Mary J. Blige with boots. It's not racial, it's very white Italian. It's basically Dolce's whole aesthetic. Hip hop like those brands in the 90s because that aesthetic. NY rappers wanted to be the new mob. Yeah, yeah, of course. That side of things, because obviously, like mob, you think of like mafia, Italian mob, those kind of associations, right? So obviously, especially if it's like white women doing it, maybe I think it's racially coded because I think parts of it when you think of mob wife and you think of that, you might think of New York, but then there's another side when you think of mob wife, you might think of like Italian mafia mob wife type thing. So I think it depends on what perspective you come from or how you're looking at it aesthetically. Back in my day, we didn't have iPhones. This is a strong point. Yep. Impact of cultural movies, Goodfellas, The Godfather, classics. Classics. But what is so maybe you guys can answer this question, but what is so unique about 2024 that now kids on TikTok want to look like a woman in like The Godfather? What is it about that? I know obviously we've talked about The Sopranos and stuff like that. Maybe that's what it is. That's quite interesting that like TV shows literally have that much pull that they can cause fashion trends on TikTok. That's insane. That's actually insane because the mob wife trend, the first article I saw about the mob wife aesthetic was about maybe the first few days of January on Vogue Business. And it was like, how have they already made a trend 6 days into 2024? This is insane. Everything is becoming caricatured, especially in fashion. Everything is pastiche. Yeah, I completely agree with that. You're just taking different people's like aesthetics or like different people's looks and sort of packaging it into a fashion trend. I even love they've even got these like Like mob wife, they've got like each piece that you can wear. So they're telling you how to dress like a mob wife. Wear these boots with these trousers, with these sunglasses. Flipping out. Mob wife aesthetic, rich mum. I actually love the internet so much. Jeez. Mob wife chic. A quick guide to master bold luxury. Oh, this should be interesting. I'm gonna mute it, but let's see. Mob wife is literally coke core. Trend actually started from someone doing a TikTok and how ridiculous it was. The trend is more people jumping on, repeating that TikTok as a video trend than actually what people are wearing. Well, thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. Like, I just realized the other night when I went out for drinks, I had on a similar outfit to this mob wife business. It was not intentional. You are officially a mob wife. You have been initiated into the culture of mob wives. Mob wives are living a life of luxury and excess, a life of leisure. A mob wife is a trophy wife. It feeds this obsession of the display of wealth in society with Birkins, cars, and stuff. You know what? That's a really good point. Let's talk about this, right? I've noticed on social media there's like this weird obsession with just like rich people and wealth and like high society. That's kind of where quiet luxury comes from, right? Everyone's trying to like cosplay as like rich people, right? Everyone wants to be like, oh, I'm classy like the rich. And there's like this disgusting obsession with like rich people that people have, especially on TikTok more so than any other social media platform. And I don't know where that comes from. Like, what is this like obsession with how the rich live and what the rich wear and how the rich dress and what the rich do? It's just like, man, how about just live your life? How about do what you want to do? People are so broke right now. We have to LARP wealth. We never making it out the hood. I don't know. It's like someone like me, I don't have a lot of money at all. I would consider myself, even though I'd say growing up, I was definitely growing up. I grew up as like a middle class person. I would say that what I would consider myself now is working class because I have high bills because of where I live. So by the time I pay all my bills, I don't have that much disposable income left. So I'd consider myself like working class. And even with my financial situation, I've never like considered I've never like thought I want to dress like rich people. I've never been obsessed with like what rich people do. I've never thought, oh my God, I want to dress like the rich. Oh my God, I want to like live my life like rich people. Where do the rich people go? I want to go there. I've never a second in my life cared about stuff like that. So that's why I was asking, where does this obsession come from? Because it's kind of hard for me to understand in a way. Leah says, I don't remember capitalism ever being this bad. Yeah, I know, right? It's just like culture now is super hyper capitalistic. It's insane. Micah said, just got home, was at Soho House, met some subscribers talking about you. No way. No way. The world of fashion roadman is growing. Long may it continue. I never understood people who are obsessed with the royals like the queens and stuff. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm not white English, so I don't care about the royal family, but I understand why, like, if you're white English, you would care about stuff like that. Because I think, especially like very right-wing nationalistic English people, they're always, you know, like, oh my God, like all the my England, I miss the days when England was England, if you know what that means. I miss the days when England was England. You know what I mean? Like, I used to walk out and I used to see a lot of my own people. You know what I mean? Like, right now, you go outside, yeah, you look around and it's just like, it's just, you know, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm not racist or anything. It's just like, it's just people that don't look like us. You know what I mean? And like all our relics of like our culture, like people aren't even Christian anymore. They don't go to church. Like, what's happening? What's happening to my England? You know what I mean? Like, my England is just, it's not the same, mate. Like, everything's just changing, mate. And right now they want to get rid of the royals. I'm not going to let it happen. Not on my watch, mate. We love the royals. The royals are a very important part of our British history, mate. We're never going to let that happen, mate. So, so that's, I understand why those people care about the royals. I don't give a flying F about the royals. If anything, the royals can just disappear. I do not give one care about the royals. Do you know that my taxpayers' money goes to the royal family? Can you imagine that? I work very hard just for me to pay tax, just for some of it to be spent on stuff that the royals do for doing no work, just because they were born in a certain family. I do not care about the royals, but there's a subsector of like English culture where those people, they love the royals. My England, mate. England. Yeah, I'm not racist, but proceed to say some racist shit. I'm not racist, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's not like, I'm not prejudiced, mate. It's just like you leave your house now and like you go to the pubs and it's just all people that don't look like you. Back in the 80s and the 70s, mate, it was the golden era. Like, you walk around, people are all dressed in suits, you know what I mean? Like, none of this like hip hop stuff going on right now. Everyone's in hoodies and stuff. Like, people actually proper dress, mate. I think now we've got all this multiculturalism and it's all like messing with the classiness, you know what I mean? Like, English people are hilarious, man. Make Great Britain great again. I'm not racist, but I don't like the ethnics. No, I actually love English people. English people are hilarious. They're so hilarious. Like, I wouldn't trade it for anything. English people are the best. Micah, I dropped a stream link for you, by the way, if you want to join. Yeah, nothing of this hip hop banter, mate. Nothing of this hip hop banter. It's the ethnics. They're bringing all the hoodies into fashion, mate. They don't wear belts. You can see their ass. Yo, Micah, how you doing?
Bro, I just got home, yeah, and like, I just got home, and I went on YouTube. I saw you were live. I said, oh, let me lock in, like, see what he's up to. Like, come on, you're spewing all sorts of rhetoric, like. I saw the title. I said, "Oh, let me come hear about Kim Kardashian for a bit." I'm hearing we don't want you in our country, mate. It's been so diluted ever since your lot got here, and we just preferred it before all the ethnics came. I said, "That's a bloody hell. What have I gotten into here?"
Oh my god. Poor old geezer in his England football t-shirt with his Indian takeaway and Japanese beer.
What topic are
Oh
you
my
even
god.
on, fam? How did you get onto this? How did you get onto this?
Yo, imagine if they made one of those channels where it's like Fashion Roadman out of context. That would be hilarious.
Oh, I might have to do that one still. I might have to hit you with that. Can't even lie.
Yeah, Leo. Not you, mate. You're one of the good ones. Not you, mate. You're one of the good ones.
No, the best part is those guys as well. They don't know any bad ones. They only know one of the good ones.
Yeah. No, it's hilarious, man. English people, they kill me. No, we we were talking about it because we were talking about fashion trends as the last topic, and we're talking about how like the mob wife aesthetic, if you know what that is.
Oh yeah.
Is like the latest trend that everyone's talking about. And we're talking about like trying to come up with reasons why people are just obsessed with making new trends and why people are obsessed with the rich. Because that's where this like quiet luxury, mob wife, like all this kind of stuff comes from. So then obviously someone mentioned, I don't know why people are obsessed with like the royals and stuff like that. So then I started talking about like the kind of, the kind of English people that want to hold on to a certain level of Britishness.
The thing is,
those are the people that love the royals.
It's deeper than that, because how many people come to the UK, bro, just to look at like Buckingham Palace? They don't even see the Queen. They don't even see. So I don't know what people like about it so much. Like, I think it's got to be deep rooted in like colonialism and all that, to be honest, because man will really travel here just to see what they call the Royal Guards, those guys in all red.
Yeah.
People just want to see the Royal Guards. People want to see Big Ben, like, and like that. They'll travel like from Japan, China, just to see that. So I don't know, but I've never understood the thing of like wanting to dress rich or like wanting to look like a rich person, because like, well, you're not.
Good Lord.
No, like genuinely though, I've never understood that thing, man. Like, because imagine let's say you actually blow a bag on like you want to do quiet luxury, you blow 8 racks on like some Prada and Bottega. Okay, now what? You're still going back to your like
square one.
Yeah, bro. You're still going back to your apartment. You're struggling to pay rent. Like, I've never understood it. Also, I feel like in today's climate, no one really looks at someone on the street and is really like, oh, that person's rich, because they're like, I feel like fashion's come so far that like you don't really assume people's backgrounds as much based on what they're wearing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can someone can be in like a full Gucci tracksuit, and I really wouldn't assume them to be rich at all. But so that's why I think for me, I've never understood it on that level as well, because like fashion's come so far that like it's impossible to know someone's background based on what they're wearing.
Right. Yeah, it's it's interesting though how that, especially on TikTok, more so than anywhere else, there's just this obsession, especially it seems to be because obviously TikTok's audience skews younger, and it's like these young kids like stay in school. Like you should be thinking about the exams you have to do. You shouldn't be thinking about trying to like cosplay as a rich person.
No, maybe they want to be a wag. Marry Eden Hazard and call it a day, fam.
Eden Hazard, that's crazy. And he's got a lot of time on his hands now. He's retired.
Exactly. Just be a wag, call it a day.
No, the fashion landscape these days is hilarious. Like, because if you think of like Micah when we were younger, right? The kind of stuff we were wearing is peak for kids these days. Yeah, bro, I was wearing Lonsdales from Sports Direct that cost £10 from the clearance rack.
Yeah,
and it was actually cool to wear that. Like I wasn't. No one made fun of me for that.
If I wore my Tiempos to school, bro, I was on swag. If I wore my Tiempos to school, oh my gosh! Now I don't even want to know what they're trying to wear to school.
Now it seems like because all these kids have like Moncler jackets and stuff. I'm like, a Moncler jacket in secondary school? Oh my word! Like,
I don't think I had
That's crazy.
any branded clothing, like outerwear wise, in secondary
I'm
school
like, where
until
do
the
you guys
end.
find? Where did they find this money, bro? When I was younger, my parents used to give me pocket money. It was £10 a week. So I remember one time because I used to play basketball. I bought like my first Jordans from like Chicago, um, and they cost me 100 and something like pounds, bro. I saved 11 weeks to buy a pair of shoes. So I'm like, when these kids are just buying these one clothes, I'm like, where's this money coming from? Like, where?
Also, what's weird is now as well, the stuff is more expensive than it was when we were younger. So as in like, even if we did want a Moncler for back then, it was cheaper at least. Now the prices
Right.
of everything is so expensive. I really don't know where people are getting their money from, bro.
We need to do a study. I need to interview some kids, be like, how exactly can you afford this Moncler jacket? What are you doing? Are you scamming people? Are you engaging in illegal activities?
To be fair, someone in the comments made a good point. At this point, there's such a huge replica market that maybe everyone's just wearing reps and we don't even know.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's like replica TikTok and like, oh, have you seen all the stuff about there's there's like a replica YouTube and there's replica TikTok, and one of like the main guys on the replica YouTube, I think he's called CDAS. Nike just hit him with a fat lawsuit, like for like millions. Being like, because his whole channel is about like how to buy fake Nikes, how to get them into the country, how to like, that's his whole channel. How like what he even
Millions.
no, it's because he's posted videos like he'll buy fake Air Forces, then he'll go to the store and replace them with real ones. So he'll buy real ones, swap them out for fakes, and return it. So he's like, and then he posts the video on YouTube. So obviously Nike saw this and they were like, wait, what the hell is this? And they hit him with a fat lawsuit. Like he's finished. He's finished. I don't know what he's gonna do, and he's like 22. I don't know what he's gonna do.
He's gonna be bankrupt for the rest of his life. Do you know what's crazy though that I don't understand about like kids these days? Like sometimes I see stuff on social media, and I'm like, wow, where is this kid's like parents? Because, bro, people film themselves committing crimes and they post it on socials because maybe they're just thinking of like, oh, this might get a lot of views. And I'm like, bro, you've posted evidence of you committing a crime on YouTube. What are you doing? And like, I just see kids doing that every day. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're just not even, they're so consumed in like trying to be famous. They just post themselves like doing like because obviously like I watch a lot of like car YouTube, right? The ones that I can think about a lot is like in America, there are these people that they like cut into lanes. They're like showing that they're good drivers, like their driving skills. So they drive recklessly and like they enter like really tight spaces on the highway. And they film it and post it on YouTube. And it's like, bro, you've literally just posted evidence of you committing a crime on YouTube.
Do you think
like what are you doing?
Because it's getting so common now, do you think society is just and employers are going to just be desensitized to it? I've been like, oh, it's normal for like one of my employees to just have videos of them banging like fraud on the internet. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
no, but a lot of people are doing it now. Maybe not banging fraud, but like a lot of people are posting themselves doing really stupid stuff on the internet.
So an artist's introspection. They don't need your face or your number plate to catch you because they can just deduce from the setting and then like find out what time you could have been driving and just check CCTV. It's not that hard for them to actually find. Once you post it, they can start deducing a lot of things from everything they can see around the setting. Like they can see where you're like driving past. They can literally just check CCTV and then find out when the car was going past and catch you. Like it's literally so easy to catch you that way. So you posting, you doing that just brings attention to it. So you might be able to get away with it, but posting it just adds attention to it. It's just like, what's that Nigerian scammer, Hush Puppy? You know, the only reason why the FBI opened a case on him was because he was posting a lavish lifestyle on Instagram, and no one eventually opened an investigation, and then that whole thing happened. So that's the thing. It's like people literally just fame is a terrible drug. People literally risk their freedom just for a few clicks online. Sensationalism is the new content. Wait, no way. Lots of teenagers died here in Italy trying to do dumb challenges like that. Damn. Damn. I mean, it's dangerous. Like, all that sort of like reckless driving and filming it is so dangerous. Like, if you turn wrongly and you have to brake hard, your car can literally leave the ground and flip. Because you're never supposed to brake hard like at a stop when you're driving really fast. It's really dangerous. That's why you always brake gradually. It's so dangerous to just like push your foot on the brake when you're driving really fast. You can literally go airborne. I don't know why anyone would get joy from driving recklessly and risking their lives. People in this world are really strange, and risking the lives of other people. Because people that my whole philosophy is like, if you want to be stupid, if you do something really stupid and you die, it's tragic, but at least you killed yourself doing something that's very stupid and dangerous. But the worst part is when what you do leads to the death of other people, or like you injure, like you're driving recklessly and you hit some like woman on the road. That's what I really hate. Hey.
Yo. Why is my camera so cropped in? Switch to my. You caught me as I'm about to have my nighttime tea, mate. I just got home.
All right, lads. All right.
What's to make a cuppa, mate?
What's in the cuppa? How do you like your cuppa?
English breakfast tea, mate, and then dash a bit of 2 scoops.
What is it? PG tips?
Nah, this one was what's it called? I'm trying out a new brand, mate. The missus recommended it last week. I thought I'd pick it up when I was at Sainsbury's.
The missus, oh my days.
It was all right, and then slapped on a couple bits of toast as well. Poorly buttered.
All right, he's English, mate. The ethnics they're assimilating to the culture, mate.
Yeah,
the ethnics, yeah.
These ethnics, I don't know what they're up to. They put all sorts of stuff on their bread, don't they? All sorts of stews and sauces. Don't know what they're doing all of that for. What's that malarkey about?
David, put some beans on that, mate. Put some beans on that, mate. They said you're in your British corner. I like my tea like my country, English and white.
No, don't kill me, man. Don't kill me.
Very English of you. Tea and toast. This is why every time I go to America, especially New York, because people in New York, they're literally savages. They're just like us. They're like American versions of us. They have no chill. I just go to New York, and before I even say a word, they're like, "Oh, are you from England? What, like crumpets and tea?"
Man, I love how their perception of England is always like hyper British. They think like we all chill with the Queen like every day, and like
crumpets and tea. That thing always kills me.
I love a bit of toast before bed.
No, I love New Yorkers. New Yorkers are long lost cousins. Londoners, they're like Londoners with an American accent. Just roast everyone for no reason. Literally what Londoners do all the time.
No, I like New York.
Is all of you go Oxford, drink afternoon tea, posh English, and pray to the crown?
Pray to the crown is crazy. Pray to the crown is crazy.
God save the king. God save our gracious king.
I'm not gonna lie, I be forgetting that it's a king now. You know, I'll be so real with
Yeah,
you.
I always forget to say God save the king instead of the queen. I always forget.
I always say Her Majesty, and I'm like, whoops.
God save our gracious king.
Wait, do you actually know it? This is a good time. Do you actually know the
God
anthem?
save the king. Yeah, of course, it's not that long. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the king.
Why do you know it?
You just hear it all the time.
Bro,
Like,
if someone
eventually you
offered
just
me
know
10 bands to sing it right now, I would have lost that 10 bands.
You just like you watch football. Like when I watch football, you see all the footballers like send him victorious, long to and quite recently actually I watched the game in Wembley, England versus Italy, and like that's an example. Like they were singing the anthem and stuff.
Yeah, you're just a proper Brit. Everyone in the chat's right. You're just a proper Brit. I'm fake, bro. I'm phony. This guy lives in Nigeria for 7 years and he's a better Brit than me.
A fake Brit.
Keek. You're as British as slow tie now, mate.
You're gonna clip this stream separate videos like the previous ones. My bad. I'm a clock on, so I'm jumping up the stream random time. Yeah, I should clip it. I won't obviously clip all this all these British jokes. You'd have to watch the full live stream to get these. That's going to be a good nugget for the people that watch the whole stream back. But yeah, I'll stream the actual fashion bits, not the. God save the king. I don't know why every time I sing the anthem, I have to use that like British working class accent.
Yeah, it's because it's that football thing. You're right. You're right.
It's football lads.
The ones that ruined Burberry. The ones that made Burberry for chavs.
Wait, someone said, can you guys speak like Mandem? Yo, it's so funny because obviously people's viewpoint on outside the UK of like Mandem and just like Roadman is Top Boy, which is funny. Mandem is funny though. People from ends in London, they're so like they make me cringe, bro. I was watching this show yesterday, and it was these like
what are you watching?
people.
This is something I've seen.
No, it was just some like I saw something on Sky News of like this girl who used to be on Backtrack, Lani Good, if you know who she is. She's making this like degenerate flipping show of just like Londoners making an absolute fool of themselves. And there was one of the girls who was like, yeah, man don't know, like, man's from SE12, yeah, that's my thing. And I was looking at her like, why are you repping a postcode that you don't even own property there? You don't, like, it's so cringe.
You know what, yeah? Okay.
You can't be 30 years and older.
I don't know if it's a hot take.
Talking like that.
Girls that talk like that are kind of lame though, bro. I don't know if this is a hot take.
Stop.
No, you know
yeah.
What it is,
Earthy's cultured, bad as UK, cultured. But she was like, SE12, you don't know about that, like, that's what man said. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what?
No, I don't know. I'd chat to her a bit, see what's going on.
You are sick. You are sick, sir. It's all fun and games till you get shanked.
No, to be fair, that ones are crazy. You know the ones where you hear stories like, he was talking to the girl. He pulled up to her yard. The brothers just shanked him, like over. Bro, I know too many stories like that. That's why I never messed with a girl like that. To be fair,
bro, you said Micah's range is crazy. Scaparelli girls to badders. Bro, you gotta be careful with girls like that because especially if their brothers are gangbanging or something, and you go to their house and the brother just doesn't like the way you look, it's long for you, bro.
Absolutely.
That might be one
long.
of your days will be numbered.
Absolutely finished. Man died for SC12 and it wasn't even his hood.
Earthy, do not watch it. It's not worth your time. Don't do it. Do not watch it. Whatever you do, I wasted a good 40 minutes that I'll never get back. Don't do it.
Oh yeah, I forgot in America that they don't have, like, people don't get shanked. They have guns.
Yeah, they have guns.
I'd rather be shot than shanked though. Easily. Any day. Actually, I don't know.
Well, it depends. It depends because you can definitely survive being stabbed. The only thing is that, like, if you're stabbed, you just have to hope it's not in the wrong place. Because some people get
that's what I was
stabbed.
gonna say. The thing about being shot is that, like, 9 times out of 10, it's a clean wound. Like, it goes in and it goes out.
through like muscle,
bro, especially when someone has ill intent, bro. When they want to chef you up, you've got like 8 stab wounds. You're not coming.
If someone stabs you 8 times, it's unfortunate. Like, even if you survive it, your life will never be the same.
You're not coming back from that. But to be fair, walking around in a country where you know some men are like open carrying and stuff, or like might have a concealed weapon, that's insane. Like, knowing people might have like a pistol in their pockets, insane. I don't know how you guys do it. Insane. Now,
I think obviously it depends. In America, it depends on. It depends on what state. But Texas is a very like gun heavy state, though. So that's why.
Yeah, but still,
you went to the wrong place, dude.
I was like 17. We were there for a science convention. Next thing I'm seeing these guys. They've got their hats on. They're open carrying. I said, yeah, let me just chill. I don't want to do any jaywalking. Don't want to look at them funny. Next thing I know, I have a hole in my chest.
That's your reminds me. You start so intellectual and always end up like this. Yeah, we have range in these streams. If people come to these streams for pure, we start with the fashion information and then we end with just absolute, just pure like
trivia,
pure trivia and banter.
Yeah, but to be honest,
that's why all the people that only watch the clips, they're missing out.
Exactly. By the end of these live streams, everyone's gonna know my preferences in women. They know I like Schiaparelli girls now. They know I like badass girls from SC12. Soon they're gonna know everything, bro.
Yeah, Venus is your fault. You asked about the mandem. Was it you, Venus? No, but the gun thing is scary though, because we're just not used to it. Like, bro, how often do you see a gun in the UK? Almost never.
No, if you see it's the kind of thing though. When you see
it'll definitely be police. It'll be police,
illegal. But no, I mean like regular people.
It's super illegal.
The only guns you see in the UK, and that's when you're rolling with rich people, are like rifles.
Oh yeah, hunting guns. I've seen those. I've seen
rifles and things like that. But in terms of like pistols and like handheld weapons, insane. Like, you're never gonna see any. Very illegal.
Yeah, because apart from those like hunting shotguns, I've never seen a gun that isn't held by the police, and even police don't really carry guns like that.
Bro said a whap.
A whap. A whap.
Bro, these guys want to kill me. These guys want to kill me.
Where have you been learning the UK slang from? Whaps.
Man's been listening to Unknown T.
Yeah, the gun thing, I'm just not used to it. Like, if I was in America and someone pulled out a gun, I'm out of there. I'm outie. I'm out, bro.
Bro, gone, bro. Long gone.
I'm out. Gone.
But thankfully, all the states I want to visit are all you can't open carry or anything like that. Like, I want to go to New York again, California again, like places like that, and it's all. At least this, if people have them, it's in their house. Don't have to see it.
It's really not that scary. I live in an open carry state. You just get used to it. Maybe because we're just not used to it. Like, I would be so scared if like you could open carry in the UK. Because going back to those British people that are like it's just, I'm not racist. It's just like the ethnics. Like, I don't know. Like those are the kind of people that. Those are the kind of people that when England lost in the Euros finals against Italy.
Oh yeah.
Remember all the racism that happened because obviously the black players missed penalties, so obviously people are being racist. I could imagine that if I was in a pub when England lost that final,
especially because
and they had guns, I definitely would have been shot in the head.
because of the way British culture is as well, that like stereotype of people, they're at the pub drunk, blah 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 blah. So all it takes is one drunken guy to just say, "Oh, you know what? I'm done with these lot." They're all finished.
I definitely would have been shot that day.
Another penalty. England are never going to win at this rate. We need to get rid of the lot.
Thoughts on Fredo getting 5 years in Dubai for a small amount of marijuana? Yeah, I saw that. The thing about it is, play silly games, win stupid prizes is basically what I think about it. Everyone knows that Dubai's laws are very, very strict. So to even go to Dubai and risk your freedom, to me, is insane. So that's between... I heard that he's going to appeal it, to be fair, but it's just really stupid. It's just not a mature way to behave. If you know that a country has really strict laws... Don't do drugs. Like, you can have one holiday without drugs.
Your Wi-Fi is coming in and out, unless it's me.
I think it might just be you. I don't know.
Oh, maybe then. Oh, you know what? Actually, question for the chat.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring protein powder into Dubai either.
In the US.
In Dubai, wait, quick story. Do you know what happened to me in Dubai? So last time I went to Dubai,
oh yeah, you've been.
because I thought I wasn't thinking about their laws. So me being the fashion kid that I am, I was like, I bought Vogue, GQ, and like a few other magazines on the way. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like read these like when I get to Dubai. And then like when I got to Dubai, they opened my bag and then they saw the magazines and I'm like, oh, that's not allowed here. I was like, what? Their magazines are like, they're not allowed here. We have to incinerate them. And they took my magazines and incinerated all of them. They literally incinerated my magazines. Like,
how much did you lose that day? Like £200?
No. They weren't expensive. It's just like the magazines that you find in like Sainsbury's or WH Smith. It wasn't like
no. I thought you meant like September edition,
System or something.
September edition Vogue.
No. It wasn't the like super expensive magazines, but still, it's like, yo, I wanted to read those.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just got incinerated.
That's crazy. No, I think it's a very British thing though to go to other countries and expect them to operate like Britain does. That's a very British mentality. Like a lot of European countries don't like British tourists purely for that reason, because they'll go to like, I don't know, Italy or like Poland and want to be British and like and not follow the rules of the country. What was I going to say again? Oh yeah, in the US, someone in the chat can answer. Can anyone of any age buy a knife? Because I just remembered in the UK, you need ID to even buy like even a kitchen knife or anything like that. You have to use your ID. Because I was buying some kitchenware the other day. They were like, "Oh, do you have your ID?" I was like, "No." And they were like, "Oh, you can't buy it. I'm sorry." Even you know what I bought? You know those things? You know when you're painting your house and there's this, you use that. I think it's called a serrator to like spread the paint.
Right.
I went to go buy one when I was painting. I didn't have my ID on me. They said I couldn't buy it. Sharp object, need to be 18 plus to buy it. Otherwise, I might be using it as a weapon.
Yeah. See, Al knows the vibes. Benidorm, Malaga, Ayia Napa, IB.
No, Mr. Magaluf. Or Shagaloof, as they call it.
Yeah, Mangaloof. Yeah. That's people hate Brits. Brits always go to different countries and act an absolute fool. Ones that can't handle their drink at all. Like
Oh
Brits
yeah, okay.
just
They said there's
cannot
no
handle their
ID for
drink.
knives. There's no ID for knives in the US. How interesting.
Like what Leo is saying, Brits come to Barcelona and lose their minds.
Yeah, because it's true. It's true. I really seen it happen. I've really seen it happen.
Yeah, Benidorm is definitely a hellhole. Brits have no self-control. Brits cannot handle their liquor. Brits are like, they cannot handle alcohol at all. I've never seen anything like it.
And it's so weird because most men are drinking all day, every day, but they still can't hack it.
They still have no tolerance to it. Brits are the Americans of Europe. Oh my
To be
god.
honest, everyone should just become a mob wife and, dress like a mob wife. That way we can eliminate racism. That's the way to eliminate racism, really and truly. We should all hop on the same trend and have a uniform society.
Well, Micah, someone says in New York you have to be 18 to buy a box cutter.
Yeah, fair. That's some UK vibe.
The UK laws are kind of dodgy because, like, say, like you have like
dodgy as hell.
no, because say like it's just down to like how the policemen feel. Because like say I have a big knife in my bag. If I get stopped and they find a knife, they'll look at you. If they're having a bad day, it's like you're carrying a like dangerous weapon. If they're having a good day, they might ask you, okay, what is this for? What are you using it for? I'll be like, oh, I just open boxes. Da, 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 da. It's just so there's too much gray area.
For me, the stuff I find the weirdest is like some stuff are allowed at some ages and aren't others. So like if you want to buy energy drinks in the UK, you get ID'd. You have to be 16 and up. So you can't drink like Red Bull and stuff like that, which is like, I think it kind of makes sense. But then the other stuff you can do when you're that age, like, I don't know. It's all just weird to me. It's all just weird to me. Sounds like clipped out of context. Say I have a big knife. It's hilarious. Man said, "Say I have a big knife," and I'm walking down the street, and the policeman stops me.
Bro, did I tell you what happened to me the last time I went to Italy?
Oh no!
No, like when they said that. So I wasn't even thinking about it. So I packed.
Is this the other week?
No, not the recent trip to Italy. It was last year. So when I was in Italy, I went to Italy. Sorry, and here's me thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna pack. I was looking at the fragrances. I was like, oh, what fragrance can I pack? Have the Italian girls on one. So I said, let me spray some Victor and Ralph Spice Bomb Extreme. So that's what I packed, right? When I got to the airport and I went through security, everything was fine. Then they told me to step aside. I'm like, why am I stepping aside? And then they're like, oh no, sorry, we just have reason to believe that you might have a weapon. So I said, a weapon? What? So then they started searching my bag, and then they brought out the Spice Bomb Extreme, and obviously it looks like a grenade, and it's shaped like a grenade. Even the mechanism of it is like, to get the sprayer, you have to like remove the thing. So they were like, oh, you know what? We know it's a fragrance, but we can't let you carry it because they said it literally looks like. They're like, it looks like a weapon, and if you bring this out, they might shoot you without asking questions. They might shoot you and ask questions later.
Man was trying to get himself on the no-fly list, bro. Why are you trying to get on the no-fly list?
So they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to take this. I was like, oh. And then, bro, when I got to Italy, do you know what I had to do? Because I was working in Italy the whole time, so I was so busy, I didn't have time to even go to a fragrance shop. And my thing is, I always smell nice. I'm like, I can't be walking around here perfumeless. So then I had to ask like someone that I was working with. She was kind enough to like get me loads of decants of different fragrances. And I was like, wow, you look at the predicament that the airport security wanted to put me in. They wanted to have me smelling crazy. They wanted to have me. They wanted to catch me slacking.
No, that's crazy. I've never been pulled aside at an airport or anything like that. I think I'd be shook. I can't lie, because you don't know if they're gonna move long or not. You know, sometimes like
Yeah,
they do random checks and they can just like detain you for a bit and like blah blah blah. And
yeah.
I'm always already running late for a flight. The second they detain me, I'm finished. Like that's my day done.
But at least now I know I don't travel with fragrances that look like grenades.
Fragrances that look like weapons of mass destruction.
Because when they said it, I was panicking. I'm like, because obviously I know I don't carry weapons, so I'm like, did someone set me up? Did someone put a weapon in my bag? Because you know, like someone might be like, maybe they flopped it or they're panicking, they're trying to carry a weapon.
Someone else's bag.
Just dash it in someone else's bag. I'm like, no way, I'm about to be framed. And then they just pulled out the fragrance. I was like, oh, okay. It's like, fair enough.
How much was it? Did they throw it away then? I take it.
No, they threw it away.
How
and it
much
was like maybe like £90. So yeah, they were like, yeah, but say bye-bye.
Nah,
got a roll with just pheromones. You guys are actually hilarious.
For some man, that's enough, you know. Just roll on pheromones.
This is funny. Airport security got Aya resorting to Axe body spray. I can't even remember the last time I used Axe. I can't believe I used to use that thing when I was younger. It's so stupid. The concept of Axe is so silly. Because obviously, when you're younger, you just think everyone just uses Axe.
Like that? Do we have it here?
No, we have links. We have links.
Okay.
Yeah. So Axe is like the American version, I think. Links is like the UK version. But like the Axe is so stupid because it's like the concept of it is so stupid now that I think about it. You spray it, it barely lasts all of 20 minutes. And you spray it all over your body just for it to last 20 minutes, and then you have to respray it. And it's like, and you go through them so quickly, and each one costs like, back then it used to cost like maybe £2. It's such a waste of money. If I knew what I knew now, just buy perfume. Literally, just buy perfume.
Be busy in school mornings, bro. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
It's true because everyone used to spray links, and it's like it projects because it's basically it's like 2% fragrance, 98% alcohol. So you just like spray it, and it's just like projecting like crazy. Everyone's coughing, and it's like, why was I wearing that? I would have actually saved money buying an actual fragrance that's just cheaper.
Yeah, but
it would have lasted way longer.
Fragrance is grown man activity, mate.
I was spraying doing the absolute most. You know, in school they'll be like, oh, like obviously, like, you know, Keisha said she likes you. And they're like, is it? Oh, you know what? Let me just go in my back.
And you're a clown. You're a clown. You're a clown. No, chatter. Hey, yo, Keisha, I heard from Becky still. I heard you like me and that. You want to go on a date sometime? Mom just gave me the Lynx Africa, so obviously I'm smelling nice.
Lynx Africa was different. Lynx Africa was my go-to. That or dark chocolate. Dark chocolate or Lynx Africa. Wow.
No, is it? I feel like it's a UK thing.
That was part of my Riz. Lynx Africa or dark chocolate. That was part of my Riz, literally.
During Christmas, everyone gets Lynx Africa. That's just like a UK like staple.
Yeah, Axe is cheap chemicals. It's weird how like, because if I wear Axe now and I try to talk to a girl, she'll probably cough herself to death. But in school, you spray Axe like, oh my God, you smell so nice. Like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, it's just, you know, it's my fragrances. I'm always on my fragrance thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
bro, you be acting like some next Louis Vuitton perfume. Meanwhile,
back then it was. Back then it was though.
Someone asked if you're
my girl list.
You're a gallus.
Retired. Micah, you answer that question. You've known me from when I was a kid. Am I a gallus?
Well, you said you're retired, so you're retired.
Yeah, I'm retired. I'm just chilling right now, making fashion content, being a fashion journalist.
But how do we know that you don't have this channel purely to attract the fashion baddies? Isn't that the reason you made your channel?
Imagine creating a whole Imagine creating a whole YouTube channel just to get women. That's insane. That is so insane. This is trapped next to some guy at the grocery store checkout.
No, the word trapped is insane. No, the word trapped is insane.
Girls are just happy to encounter a guy that not smell like Mountain Dew and dirty socks. Good Lord.
Someone said a whole channel just to rizz up some Russia.
Yeah, Micah, you are moving like Vlad.
Well, I'm a Fed now. Because Vlad is a Fed confirmed as far as I'm concerned.
Isn't Simone Rocha like married with kids?
Yeah, bro, she's like 36.
Like, what's going on here? What's this live turned to? It's my fault. Chatting to birds, a couple birds. Two birds. Leo is hilarious. It'll be your own people. Oh my God. My Riz fragrance. Oh, that's a strong question. What fragrance
do I too many fragrances.
Riz?
This guy has too many.
Yeah, I do have a lot of fragrances, to be fair. I'm trying to think, what's my Riz fragrance? Oof. There's a lot of fragrance that if I'm going on a date, there's specific fragrances I'll wear because I know it's gonna be on a you smell really nice type joint. I think Creed Aventus is I like it because it's safe. It works for a lot of people. It's not my favorite fragrance, but every time you wear something like Creed Aventus, it kind of always works. So there we go. I'm trying to think, what is my actual Riz fragrance? What fragrance do I wear first?
Most men will say Dior Sauvage, bro.
Do you know what? It depends on who I'm talking to, who I'm risen, to be fair. If it's the kind of girl that's like into fragrances, I have to wear, especially in fashion. If you're talking to these fashion girls, yeah, they know about all these fragrances. So you can't just be pulling up in Creed Aventus because they're going to be like, you wearing Creed Aventus? My friends wear that. Like, like, so you have to hit them with something. You have to hit them with the Corinne Rockfield new fragrance line that they've never heard of. Like, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, you're into niche fragrances. Ooh.
You know what? Actually, your range is decent though, because man's doing up fragrances, man's doing up fashion. You've got some decent car knowledge on you as well. Are you trying to do breadth, not depth? What is this? Man's saying he can chat to perfume baddies. Like, what kind of niche type of girl is that that you've got on lock?
Yeah, so I have to hit the girls with the the crazy niche fragrances, especially the fashion girls. They're hard to impress, so you have to hit them with the crazy stuff.
This is all I have. I know it's not all I have, but this is the one I wear every day at the moment. I live and swear by this at the moment for winter.
Okay.
It's decent.
Okay.
It does the job, mate. It does the job.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay. I see you.
Just something light,
Top 3 fragrances. Oh, I can't really answer that question because in my collection, everything's just so different. It's really, I kind of appreciate a lot of it. So, I don't really know. I'd say my favorite right now is probably Patchouli Ardant is definitely one of those. We're talking so much about Riz. My internet is moving shaky. My
Well, now
internet
you're
wants
trying
to
to
mess
claim you
up the
rizzed up your
Riz.
internet. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Guys, not to spill any personal information about Mr. Roadman here, but obviously he's got at his parents' house, there's a pretty nice view from the living room of the river. So you know when when girls go, yeah, they be smiling at the river, smiling like, oh, this is where you stay, yeah. And then he's probably got his niche
No
perfume on,
comment.
smiling at them.
Absolutely no comment. Absolutely no comment.
Man lures them in with the scent, and then
bro, you need to chill out.
yeah, you know what? Maybe I've had enough internet today.
He said, I lure them in with the scent. Good Lord. Like I'm catching a fish with bait. Good Lord.
No, do you remember in Pokemon you could put down the lure and it would attract more Pokemon?
I put out show notes to Riz Up Fashion Baddies.
Oh, damn. I'm never beating the Vlad allocations now. I'm never beating the Vlad allegations.
Micah's Vlad. Micah's Vlad. Soon he's going to ask me, in the past week, have you committed any crimes?
No, but real talk, Vlad's actually an op. Why does he do that? Like,
no,
Vlad
literally tries to implicate people. Like, it's
and I
insane.
don't know why. They'll be like, oh, I've got an NDA, like I can't talk about this ongoing lawsuit. And he'll just ask about details about the lawsuit. Like, bro, allow it.
That's correct. Do people assume men into fashion are gay? Most times they do, but I don't think it's a wrong assumption to make. Because if I think about most of my male I was saying most of my male friends from fashion are actually gay anyway. Most of the people I know, like men that work in fashion, are gay. So it's an assumption, but it doesn't bother me. Like it's not that deep, and it's it comes from somewhere because a lot of the men in fashion are gay.
Honestly, I think it's not as assumed as it used to be, especially depending on what your definition of like into fashion is. Because I feel like men it's more way more common now for men to like want to dress cool and want to be in like stuff. So I feel like people don't assume it as much as like 5 years ago. I put Balenciaga jeans on 5 years ago and niggas would say I was gay like immediately.
No, are you sure? Because some of my YouTube comments are insane. Like people say no grown man should be talking about fashion in depth like that. Like people literally comment that like no straight man should be talking about fashion in this way.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, no, I think but that's what I was saying. That's why I said it depends on what you deem as like into fashion. Because when you're like as deep as you are, I think a lot of people would assume that. But the thing is dumb as well because like it's just fashion. What does your sexual orientation have to do with anything? Like
I know, right? It's an interest, but that's the world we live in.
But to be fair, actually, you're right. You do make a good point though, as in like men into fashion will probably never beat those allegations purely just because like majority of men working in fashion are gay, especially like when you get to like the designer level and things like that. So just is what it is, really. Like who cares? You know your own sexual orientation and like who you're interested in. So
yeah, Leo, you're talking about Louis the 14th. That was before like
isn't that the Congo?
Yeah. That's literally before everything got like destroyed by obviously French Revolution and menswear just became very homogenous, to put it in less offensive terms. This is actually a good point though. Depends on what department you working on the operations side or supply side, there are less assumptions. Yeah, that's true. It tends to be like maybe let's say the more front-facing industry roles. So things like being a journalist or being a fashion designer, that people might just assume that. And it's like, it's the right assumption. Let's think of famous male fashion journalists. They're probably gay. Tim Blanks. What is Alexander Fury gay? I think he is.
The thing is, though, a lot of these people, I don't even know if they're gay or not because I've never looked it up. Like I've never.
No. Tim Blanks has a husband. I know that for a fact. Alexander Fury, I don't know, but my point is that it's not. It's not crazy for people to think that, because 9 times out of 10 it'll probably be true anyway. So. But yeah, I'm not complaining. I mean, the good thing about having so many gay friends and there being so many gay men in fashion means that you're one of the few straight men in these spaces, and you know what that means. We living a metro lifestyle, pretty boys only. Michael was like, goodbye. He's like, hold on. Oh my God. He was like, bye. Oh my God. Oh, I think I'm not a good person to ask this question, by the way. Fashion stylist to follow. There's a few fashion stylists I follow, but they're not. So I like what they do with celebrities, but it's not a good, like, if you're trying to follow them as to like understand how to, let's say, dress better or dress in a more interesting way, it's not very usable information, because they're literally dressing celebrities in haute couture and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, Micah's timing was sensational. His timing was so good. Oh my word. I'm with it. Have I been watching AFCON? Yeah, I have. Nigeria got through to the semis. So obviously it's a good time right now. What can I say? What can I say? What can I say? Hopefully we beat South Africa. I feel like South Africa is going to be a big grudge match. Us versus South Africa. But it'll be fun. I love my South African brothers and sisters. Fashion orgies are crazy. Okay, when I was saying that, obviously, a good thing about there being so many gay men in fashion means that as someone that is attracted to a woman, you have your chances are better, because there aren't that many straight men around to start with, which is true. But to be honest, I'm just joking around. Like, I'm quite a boring person, so it doesn't bode well when it comes to like talking to girls or whatever. Like, I don't really drink. I don't like drinking. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never smoked weed in my life. I've never done drugs, not even once in my entire life. I've never been drunk. So like, imagine balancing the way I am with the typical fashion person that does all of those things. Our values don't align, if that makes a lot of sense. So jokes aside, I'm just playing about. I'm literally just joking around. Now my dating pool is bigger. Yeah. Yep. Say my friends are all shocked I don't drink or smoke. Yeah. How are you into fashion? Never smoked a square. Phony. I don't know. I just never really. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? So when at the age I was when people started drinking around like 16, 17, 18, it never really appealed to me. There was no specific reason. Maybe because I used to play sports at a high level. So I was scared that, you know, doing all those things would affect my performance. But even outside of that, I just used to see the stupid things that people would do when they got drunk. And I just remember thinking to myself, I do not want to be like those people. Like I've seen like, let me not even say what I've seen, because I've seen some crazy things that have happened when people are drunk. So I was just like, yeah, that can't be me. So yeah, I just don't do any of those things. I always have a sound mind, a clear mind, so I can read my fashion books in peace and tranquility. I can watch my fashion documentaries in a sound mind. Keep it up. I'll try to. We'll see how long it lasts. I feel like I'm getting too old for it to change, because I'm like 26 now. I think if I haven't done all these things by 26, I'm probably not going to do it. It's very unlikely. Anyway, before I go, let me check the time. Oh, it's almost 1 a.m. Any parting fashion questions before I go to my bed? Okay, that's a good question. Fashion documentary recommendations. Oh my God, where do I even start? You can talk about documentaries and you can also talk about series. Like the new Balenciaga series just came out. You can watch that. That's really good. The McQueen documentary is really good. The Dries Van Noten documentary is really good. There's a documentary on Diana Vreeland called The I Must Travel. That's really good. There's a documentary on there's so many. Where did I even start? Yeah, Kingdom of Dreams is also a really good one that Leo said. That's based on how luxury lost its luster. It's about like how like high-end fashion became what it is right now, and it focuses mainly on like Marc Jacobs, John Galliano, Alexander McQueen, and then the battle between LVMH and Kering. And like there's a keen focus on Bernard Arnault. So that's also a really, really good one. Yeah, 30 Days Out is really good. There was that Karl Lagerfeld episode, which was really good. I'm trying to think what other. Yeah, Dior and I is a really good documentary about Raf Simons at Dior. There's also the Margiela in His Own Words documentary. Margiela in His Own Words. Documentaries. Let me think. Fashion documentaries. I know I've watched way more than this, so I don't know why I've gone completely blank. But there's talking about documentaries. There's a really good documentary on. This documentary is so old. I literally have the DVD in my room, but there's a really good documentary on Oswald Boateng and how he like became one of the youngest tailors on Savile Row, and how he became one of the first Black people to be a creative director under LVMH at Givenchy. Really, really good documentary. Really, really good documentary. There's a Yoji documentary that's really good. Oh, what's it called again? Do you guys know the Yoji documentary I'm talking about? There's a really, really good documentary on Yoji. On YouTube, there's a documentary called Anti-Fashion in the 90s. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think it's Anti-Fashion in the 80s or 90s. I think 80s or one of those. But that's really good. Yeah. I'll try to put them together and then type them out in a post, or maybe I could even make a video on it. But yeah, it's definitely a good question. Definitely a good question. Yeah, that's the A Man's Story is the Oswald Bertang documentary. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Swalk. There's Swalk and then there's Swalk 2. Swalk is really good though. Oh yeah, how did I forget about that? The September issue. That's a really good documentary. How did I forget about that? Yeah, so that's another really good one, the September issue, talking about how, at Vogue, the September issue is like really important and all the things that have to come together for them to make a September issue. And you get to see a lot of Anna Wintour and like Grace Coddington and the rest. Yeah, the September issue is a really good one. Yeah, when they come to me, I'll make sure to make a post about it. But that was definitely a really good question. Yeah, her versus Grace Coddington is legendary. Yeah, exactly. We beef with Vogue. I didn't know this stream was like a Vogue beef zone. I saw a car with Anna Wintour's license plate. Where was that? What was the car? It was probably a Rolls Royce or something. If it was Anna Wintour's car, probably a Rolls Royce. I feel like she's the type of woman that would only get into a Rolls Royce. I don't think any other car would suit Anna Wintour. It'd have to be a Rolls Royce or like a Maybach or like something just like stupidly luxurious. Chat is the feds now. Reporting people's number plates. They drive Cadillacs. Yeah, I don't know too much about Cadillacs because that's more of an American thing. We don't really have those here. Are Cadillacs like really luxurious? Are they like what car brand can they compete with? Is there a Cadillac that's like comparable to a, I don't know, S-Class, Mercedes S-Class or something like that? Uh, American classics, an old black man car. Can he stop being luxurious since the 90s? Interesting. They're like Range Rovers. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I don't know. When I imagine Anna Wintour, I just think, yeah, she's just like hop in her Rolls Royce, sit in a back seat or a Maybach. Those are the only two cars that come to mind when I think of Anna Wintour. A Maybach or a Rolls Royce, nothing else. Or maybe if it's not the Maybach S-Class, then it's the normal S-Class. Maybe. But nothing else will do for Anna Wintour. Nothing else is luxurious enough. Yeah, I know she gets chauffeured. I'm saying that those are the cars she gets chauffeured in. Can you imagine Anna Wintour squeezing into like a tiny Ford or something like that? I just can't imagine her doing that. Yeah, or like a Bentley, exactly. Like I cannot imagine Anna Wintour like squeezing into a Nissan Micra. She's not one of us. Anna Wintour drives a Fiat. Can you imagine Anna Wintour pulling up in a Fiat? No way. No flipping way. That would be hilarious. Anna Wintour in the Fiat. Like literally driving the Fiat, like doing the turn indications, everything. Oh man, that I just can't even get that sight out of my head. That is so funny. What, can Anna Wintour kickbox? Of course she can't. Fashion people can't fight. Fashion people can't fight. Fashion people are too concerned about the way they look and like. That's why every time I tell people that I do Muay Thai, they're like, "Oh my god, don't you get kicked in the face?" It's like, yeah. Like, oh my god, why do you want to do that? Like, you can mess your face up, and it's like, yeah, I've never really cared about my appearance that much. I don't think about the way I look that much. If someone kicks me in the face and I get bruised, so be it. It's not the end of the world. So I don't think fashion people are not the kind of people that would do stuff like that. Anna Wintour cannot get kicked in the face. Or if, okay, maybe she could do kickboxing, but she'll just like, you know when all these like LA celebrities do like box fit and their punches look horrible, like box fit. That's probably what she'll be doing, like kicking a very, very specially made heavy bag that feels soft to the shin just for Anna Wintour when she kicks it. Yeah, Anna Wintour definitely does CrossFit or like Pilates. Exactly, that's the kind of stuff she would do. Meanwhile, I'm just like, yeah, boys, let's go to Muay Thai. Get kicked in the face, shinned in the mouth, punched in the mouth. My gum shields come out. She does hot yoga. Can you imagine Anna Wintour doing BJJ? There's no world where Anna Wintour is doing BJJ. Absolutely no way. There's no way Anna Wintour would do BJJ. What? Anna Wintour, BJJ? Micah, they're speculating about Anna Wintour, and they said Anna Wintour does BJJ.
Oh no. But you got the chat saying all sorts of wild stuff today. You got people saying all sorts of wild stuff today.
I had to make people cheerful because if you were here earlier when we were talking about Alaïa, people on smoke. The chat came on smoke today.
Really?
The people that have been here from the start know that when we were talking about the fashion earlier, about like 9:30, 10ish.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, people came in on like absolute smoke.
Damn. What was the general consensus? What was being said?
Nothing. It's just when I clip them, I'll send them to you, so just so you can see what people are saying.
Say less.
Well, Leah did some. Okay, I did some digging, and she drives a Mercedes. Do you know what model? It's probably an S class.
There's no way she drives, but okay.
Yeah, I don't. She's also a bit too old now. No,
yeah,
how old is Anna Wintour?
There's no way she drives. There's no way she.
Yeah,
drives.
She's definitely like older than 70. Let me check her
She's probably
age.
like 76, maybe 80.
Okay, she's 74. Yeah, she shouldn't be driving, or she should be like slowing down at this point. BJJ is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it's like
it's what does Mark Zuckerberg do it?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So the gym I go to, I don't do BJJ as it yet, but the gym I go to is an MMA gym. So I just do like kickboxing and Muay Thai, but in most MMA gyms they do BJJ and Muay Thai and kickboxing and like wrestling mainly. But BJJ is just you learn to like put people in submissions. You learn to choke people out basically and dislocate their arms and dislocate their other joints. Well, she looks all right for 74. Yeah, fair play.
Yeah,
I mean, we barely know what she looks like anyway because she's always wearing those damn glasses. But you know,
no, but it's part of her vibe, I guess, isn't it?
It's such a fashion. Fashion is so pretentious, you know.
Yeah,
like I have to have a look. as a fashion, have to have my look. Like, it's so pretentious. Good Lord. That's why someone like me, I'm actually so weird. Like, in terms of someone like me being in fashion, because I'm the most like not non-fashion person, but then I just happen to like reading fashion books and talking about fashion. But I'm like I like leave here and like go to my MMA gym and get kicked in the face and do Muay Thai, and then I play football with the lads.
This guy said he gets his teeth knocked out. Gets his teeth knocked out after doing a live stream. I'm dead.
And I play footy with the lads.
Obviously, a bit of ball. Did you see? Oh my gosh! Did you see that video? Stormzy posted of his like a day in his life.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Insane. Like, I watched it. I was like, oh, I feel like a bum now. Man wakes up at like 6 a.m., does like 5 workouts by 11 a.m. Then he's playing paddle. I didn't even know what paddle was before I watched that video.
Yeah, paddle was like paddle was becoming one of those like things that a lot of people are playing now. It's just like it's trending.
Like man's doing paddle training. Then he's playing paddle with Chunks and Sharky, and I was just like, oh, this guy gets a lot in his 24 hours. Done.
Footy with the lads, y'all have a strange language. But yeah, paddle is becoming a whole thing now.
And as in, like, he was dead ass like, oh yeah, obviously I'm the deadest at paddle in my group, so every day I do 1 hour training between 10 and 11. I said, bro, it's like that. Like, man are doing paddle training.
Guess obviously competitive spirit. People want to get better regardless of the sport, even if no one actually plays it.
Wait, they're mocking footy with the lads.
Yeah, they love that footy with the lads.
Have a bit of a kickabout.
Bit of a kickabout, you know what I mean? Like, bit of a kickabout, footy with the lads. No, it's so funny. When we make fun of Americans, I feel like every time we just do an LA accent and like
yeah, probably because that's the most bait one. I can't do like
Just
I'm
do
not
an
gonna be able
LA
to do like a
accent.
South Carolina accent. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can't even do in New York. I struggle with that accent. Dead ass B, dead ass B, dead ass B. No, I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about. That's how New Yorkers be talking. Is Bill Burr from Boston? Does he have like a typical Boston accent? I think he's from Boston. I'm not sure though. Oh, Micah, take it away. They want to know more about you, sir.
I'm late here, but I would love to know more about Micah. Are you a journalist as well, or just a pal? Great question. No, I think when I was like, I've been into fashion since I was like 16, 17. And in London, you end up like with a lot of contacts and stuff. So I've done a lot of different stuff in fashion. Like I've interned at like London Fashion Week before. I've done like quite a few styling jobs for a while and different things. But I'd just say, for now, I'd just say well integrated into like the London fashion community. And by coincidence, I've known Io for like my whole life. So in fact, I mostly got into fashion through him, to be fair, but from like ages ago. So it just
giving me my flowers.
Yeah, you
He's
got your
giving me my flowers.
Mate. You got your flowers. This guy was wearing what's that show? Y3 Kaza Highs. When I was like 14,
Yeah,
I was seeing it like, what's this
I was
guy
wearing
got on his
Y3
feet?
Kaza Highs early, and people didn't have a clue what I was wearing. People were like, "Why are you wearing those weird shoes?"
Rubbish. Just weird shoes. And like, yeah, within a couple years later, I was active in the scene.
He was getting it.
Yeah, not gonna lie. But I think it makes me, in hindsight, when I like think about that stuff, it makes me really appreciate London, because I feel like if we lived in like Brum, bro, like what would we be doing? Because half the stuff I do is just because like, I live in London, I know this person, I know that person, they've let us do this. I have no clue.
Yeah.
No clue at all.
Yeah. The reason I know Micah is because fun trivia. His mom and my mom are best friends, so we've known each other since we were kids. That's a bit of fashion trivia for you lot.
You're adding law to the channel, mate. Adding channel law.
Channel law. Someone said I've got a soft spot for Brum accents.
Wait, what's this Young Thug interview that people are saying check out?
I have
now
no
I'm a Nepo
idea
sibling.
what
GG.
happened to so Nepo sibling.
GG. Nepo sibling.
The OGs have noted this channel law. I feel like we talk about so many things on our live streams that if you just watch the videos, you'll actually not know what the hell we're talking about sometimes.
Yeah, no, if you just skip through different points of the live stream, you'd be lost, bro.
Bro, do you know how much channel law there is? There's the Cricklewood guy, Crick Owens. There's you remember Crick Owens?
Yeah.
There's Crick Owens, there's Urban with the ER.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
There's
Urban with the ER is crazy.
we're building the channel lingo slowly but surely.
Nah, and it's special because only men from the live stream know about the channel law. If you don't hop in the live, you're not integrated. In fact, if people who aren't in the lives don't know about it, you can call them fake fans. Only people in the lives are the real fans. Like,
oh my days, that's hilarious. Well, people are saying they forgot about Crick Owens.
Well, they're back in the archives.
Deep into the archives. That's early channel law. It's the OGs that know about like.
Nah,
Crick
Leo
Owens.
got me with this. Who buys Martina Rose's clothes? You know what? That line was ridiculously funny, actually. That line was funny.
Oh my God.
Black people do not buy Martine Rose's clothes.
No, I think for you, what it was, I think you said that no black person talks about Martine Rose, and there's like four of us.
Black people on the screen, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, you know what? Channel law is going crazy, actually.
Yeah. This is oh, should I bring back the Crick Owens for the new guys on the stream? Should I bring back the Crick Owens law?
Man's about to pull law out of the archives.
Literally pull some of the channel law out of the archives, because we'll do some democracy. Who actually wants to hear the Crick Owens law? If you don't know about it, if there's like more than 5 people, then I'll do it. Oh yeah, shout out to Ozempic. That was Dami. Dami said that. Shout out to Ozempic.
No, bro, that one was insane.
That was crazy. Okay, people want me to do the Crick Owens. Okay, so let me give you guys context. So obviously, as you guys know, if you make any sort of content online, you're going to get like haters, which is completely fine. But there's a guy called Austin Crick who we named in the live streams Crick Owens. And This was like years ago. I think like ages ago, maybe in like 2019. He like sent me an email of the fact that like I sound retarded, and he went on to explain why I sound retarded. So let me
It's a long email
let me
too. It's a long
let me
email.
let me see if we can find this email. One sec, one sec. Oh, good. Okay, so this is the email. It's called "Know Your Subject." So first of all, he's misspelled my name. He's called me Aja Ojo, which is just not my name. My name's Ayo Ojo, but that's okay. Neither here nor there. He said, "I am heartily sick of hearing you repeated mispronounce English words." He didn't even say, he's supposed to say repeatedly mispronounced. So imagine he's correcting my English, and in the first sentence, the English doesn't make sense. So he said, "I'm heartily sick of hearing you repeated mispronounce English words and place names, which you should know, being born here in Britain, how to pronounce. I watched your latest video."
Am I reaching? Are there racial undertones here? I'm only clocking
Of course,
now.
of course there are racial undertones. Of course there are racial undertones. So he said, "I watched your latest video, 4 fashion trends that need to continue in 2020. He even dated it, 30th November 2019. He said, "You sound retarded. You speak like an 8-year-old child. Derby, pronounced Derby, is a city and unitary authority area in Derbyshire, England, pronounced Derbyshire. It lies on the banks of the river Derwent, the south of Derbyshire, of which it is traditionally the county town. Derby gained city status in 1977, and by the 2011 census, its population was 248,700. Then he sent me a link of Derby's like wiki. And then he said,
God, this is insane.
Derby has a claim to be one of the birthplaces of the Industrial Revolution between 1820 and 1840. The Derby shoe, pronounced Derby, also called the Gibson, became a popular sporting and hunting boot in the 1950s. By the turn of the 20th century, the Derby country wear had become appropriate for wear in town, a fashion in caps, which has lasted to today." And then he sent me a wiki of like Derby. He said, "If you want to be taken seriously, then know your subject and use the correct pronunciation. That is, if you want to live up to your grand title of the fashion archive. How do you expect anyone in the fashion industry to take you seriously? They will all only be laughing at you and say, 'What an idiot.'" Because
Oh, so every day this ages like milk. Every single passing day, this just ages worse and worse.
because this was 2019, which is hilarious. But he said, "Because he puts up a video, do 10 minutes of internet research in the items you're talking about. Check your pronunciation of word and place names and structure what you're going to say. So he said to you, do not rambling, but I guess it's supposed to say, so you do not end up rambling on incoherently. Said, I tell you this as a sympathetic British black man. You are making yourself and others of your generation and guests of your YouTube channel look like fools. Stop this. Do your research." And then he put Austin, London, UK, and he tagged my YouTube video.
Bro, this is crazy. Oh, you replied? Oh, no, you just forwarded it to a different email.
No. I replied because I wanted to, I already knew he was like angry. So I antagonized him even more to get a reaction out of him, and he fell for it. He fell for the bait. So I said, he sent me an essay. I just sent him one sentence. I said, maybe you need to learn English too. There are already spelling mistakes in your first sentence. And then he sent me this fucking long essay. And then he said, Aja, take is for what it is. Once again, this guy cannot write to save his life, whoever he is. Said, take is for what it is. I guess he was supposed to say, take it for what it is. A plea for you to work to a high, he's supposed to say high standard. He wrote high stand. A plea for you to work high stand and produce quality, credible, and valuable content. Remember, you have put yourself out there on YouTube as an expert commentator on fashion. Not only that, in doing so, you're making yourself a public example of young Black British men. Your work is sloppy, lazy, and rambling. Derby, Gibson, Oxford Brogue. These are 4 basic classic English men's shoe styles known throughout the world. So when you mispronounce and repeatedly mispronounce Derby, how do you expect anyone to take you seriously as a professional and as an educated black man? Do your research. It's embarrassing to watch, especially as a black man. It does not take 10 minutes to check you're making correct pronunciations or simply structure your commentary by simply listing bullet pointed, he said talking point, he was supposed to say talking points. As I said, your work is sloppy, lazy, and rambling, and embarrassing to watch. If you want to understand what you should be doing and the standard you should be working at, then watch this guy, Luc Moir, at Haute Le Mode. His work is well researched, though through, okay, I think you're supposed to say though thorough, structured and well presented. Do the same. And he sent me like a video, I guess, of Luc Moir's. Up your game. Work to a high standard. Stop being an embarrassing. I guess you're supposed to say an embarrassment, I guess.
This is insane.
Austin. London, UK.
I didn't even clock. I didn't know there were emails after the first one. That's insane.
So that's the whole Crick. That's where you get Crick Owens from. We named Austin Crick Owens. So he's part of the channel law. So now you guys are now
crazy.
You guys are aware of the Crick Owens.
Oh wait, he hopped on the live.
Law.
I've just seen Black Magic said he hopped on the live one time.
Yeah, he did.
You're lying.
Yeah,
What, like,
yeah.
on camera?
Yeah.
Oh, in 2020 you were rolling insane. In 2020 you were rolling insane. What did he say on the live stream? What did he say?
Enough. It's just talking about fashion, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god! But that email is hilarious. Like, bro, I remember when I initially got that email, I was laughing my eyes out, bro. That was funny, and I think I missed out one of the emails because I remember, because he kept saying as a black man, and it's just like, mate.
No, what made it funny to me is that he did all that additional stuff to the email, like bold, underlining, like
bold, underlining, caps. I'm like, this guy is a psycho. Who emails like that? This guy is actually a psycho. This is the kind of person that's literally going to turn up to my doorstep. This is literally the kind of person that will literally find your address and wait outside your house.
Man's trying to tell you about the origins of Derbyshire, bro.
Oh my word, jeez. You guys are hilarious, man.
Oh, yeah, that's a decent bit of law, that.
Maya says you should invite him on. Oh my. I wonder what Austin Crick is up to right now.
Yeah, to be
What
fair.
do you think Austin Crick is up to?
Do you think he's still subbed?
I have no idea. That was in 2019. I have no idea. So long ago.
It's one of those things that doesn't actually sound real. Like, if you just describe it to someone, it doesn't sound like a real story.
He's shining his derbies. No, this chat is insane. This chat is insane.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Find another channel, find another YouTuber to harass via email. Oh my word. That is hilarious. I can't find it because he keeps putting Aja Ojo in the search bar.
No, that story's crazy. That story's crazy.
Oh my word. Oh, I need to breathe. Okay. Oh. Oh my word. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm back now. I'm back now. I'm heartily sick. I don't even know what I was trying to say. Like,
I've just never, to be fair, a small piece of me respects him for sending it to you privately rather than leaving it as a public comment for the world to see.
To be fair, if it was a comment, it would have been fleeting because like people send me those kind of people comment those kind of things all the time. But it's just in the comment section, and you move on to the next video. But I think he went out of his way to email me, attach my own video, attach links, underline stuff, put stuff in bold, put stuff in caps. I was like, good Lord, the amount. Have you ever emailed someone after watching?
After hearing like probably like the smallest mistake in their video, as in like no, the mistake he pulled you up for is something that like 50% of the country would also make. Lots of people don't know if it's Derby or Derby. Like
what I did was I called derbies, which technically is not wrong because in American English it's actually Derby, in British English it's Derby, but. So I said Derby instead of Derby, and because I said Derby instead of Derby, apparently I'm a disgrace to all black men in Britain.
All of them, every single last one.
And I'm representing my generation badly.
No one will ever take you seriously in fashion.
No one will ever take me seriously in fashion. Oh my word. No, Crick Owens is a legend. Absolute legend.
No, that's quality content. Man.
We love Crick Owens on this channel. No Crick Owens slander is accepted.
To be fair, got to wrap up the live stream soon, mate. If you don't want to go past 4 hours, if you still want to be able to edit it after.
Yeah, exactly. I'm about to end it soon. Any last thoughts before we close the stream on a high of Crick Owens?
Oh, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Comments moving crazy. So representative of black men in the UK. Leo says Iris Van Herpen, please retire. Leo still has smoke for Iris Van Herpen.
Really? Wait, why?
From earlier in the life. Don't worry, when you watch it back, you'll see. Good luck to you two. Thanks for this. We'll go back and watch the final. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm hoping to make our lives more consistent, but never say never because life might happen and then I might not be more consistent, but we'll see about that. But thank you for.
Do you reckon if you made community posts about them, more people would tap in?
Maybe, but I just don't want to bombard people with community posts. So
They're
like
lit, bro.
announcing that I'm doing
I actually
lives.
really like community posts.
They are. I did one on because I want to make a video on like people's fashion hot takes, and that has like over 120 comments right now. So even that is like, oh my god, how am I going to
Really,
pick
that's
like hot
crazy.
takes out of so many comments?
Let me go check that.
Yeah, it should be my latest community post. But yeah, maybe
Damn,
maybe I will.
Popped off. Flipping heck. I love when people ask for hot takes and then someone gives like the coldest take ever. Like they'll be like,
take.
Alexander McQueen was a great designer. Okay, great hot take, mate.
Very lukewarm take.
Oof. To be fair, yeah, there are some hot takes in here though.
No, there's some really good hot takes.
There's some hot
tomorrow
takes.
on the train. I'm gonna like start organizing them and then order them and see which ones I want to
Wait, this
choose.
one's crazy. I'll read it out for the chat for a quick preview. Someone said, as much as I love McQueen, he did more damage than good by introducing flashy stunts in his shows. Nowadays, it feels like everyone has to have some kind of stunt in their show to be relevant. That's a hot take because I strongly disagree.
That's a hot take.
Man said more damage than good. That's such a bold statement.
You never told us if sandwich is close to tea and crumpets. Unfortunately, I'm not aware of any parts of England called tea or crumpets, but I might be wrong because I don't know every single place in England. Exactly. Where are these? So in the community tab of my channel, I did this post where I asked people to submit hot takes I'm going to react to in future videos. The first one will actually be next week. So, well, technically this week because in the UK it's Monday now. But so yeah, you can even add your hot takes in the community tab if you want to. And you can read through them there.
I'm going to try and think of an insane hot take and just drop it.
Just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I need to cook up something insane.
Quick Owens will say you pronounce tea and crumpets wrong. Start telling me about the history of tea and where tea originates from. Yeah, but some of the takes, now that I'm looking through them, yeah, they're really very, very controversial.
And some of them are cold as hell. Like, just, okay, yeah, everyone knows this already. It's not a hot take.
Yeah, those takes are good because then it makes my job easier. It's less difficult to choose. Because if every single take was a hot take, it's even more difficult. But takes like, Alexander McQueen is a great designer. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to skip past that one.
Yeah, those will be some good videos. You've got a lot of content to work with here. A lot of good comments. Moncler show from last night. I haven't even seen it.
Neither have I, to be fair. My hot take is fashion is not art. Yeah, every time I say that, people get mad at me. Because I made a video, quite a few years ago, actually, I made a video on is fashion art? And I like made this chart and I was saying that there's like a spectrum. So I started putting brands on the spectrum. So I put like Comme des Garçons mainline closer to the spectrum between like fashion, commerce, and art. And then I put, brands that are way more commercial. Like, let's say like Phoebe Philo-Celine was more on the fashion side than the art side. But no brand was all the way at the art side because it's still fashion.
It's impossible unless they just didn't sell their clothes.
I genuinely think, okay, this is my hot take. I'll leave you guys with a hot take. So my hot take is I genuinely think that people think that by saying fashion is art, it makes them sound intelligent or it makes them sound like fashion is so deep, and you don't understand what I understand because it's an art form, blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. The kind of people that say things like that and just remove all the commerce that's involved in fashion, I feel like they think that they're being really intellectual, but they're not. That's my hot take.
Fair. I don't know. I think it's an art form, but I don't think it's purely art. And like, it can never be as long as you're selling clothes.
Yeah, I think it's a form of applied art. So yeah, kind of.
But I agree. Lots of people just say it to sound fancy. Oh, mate, you need to cut this off in the next 30 seconds, mate.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. This was really fun. And I'll see you guys soon. Sooner
See
than
you guys when I
later.
next drop a video. Maybe it'll be soon. Maybe it won't be. We never know with me. Bye, guys.